Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Please wait for a few minutes more, and we will start very soon. And I hope that you have prepared your questions and queries to our panelists because we are not just providing a webinar. We are looking and solution to you to provide one-to-one solution to all startups who have queries how to attract the funding with abroad, how to get projects from abroad, how to get market access from abroad and India, what is the B2B, B2C and B2G opportunities after COVID and present world conflict, how it is important for India, and it's how can we gain from these as an opportunity, and those who are just not sustainable due to these regions, how can they sustain with the present scenario. So maybe all the directors and the decision makers and policy makers will join shortly, and they will allow you to uh, send your queries, and we will solve all the queries with you. So please provide all the queries with team as the mailer given to you, and it's not a webinar, it's an one-to-one interaction, and you can provide all your queries, and it's not an info webinar. We are looking that it may be some fruitful webinar to you. So please wait for 2 or 3 minutes. We are starting within a 1 or 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Vincent from ABTC.
Yeah, hi. Welcome, Mr. Noor. This is Kapil from Vyom Group and representing from Startup Mantra with MITI. So we will be starting within 2 or 3 minutes. We have to wait 2 or 3 minutes because the
Sure,
participants are joining. Thank you, sir.
sure.
Thank you for joining.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So we will starting soon, Sava. Welcome. And right now, Mr. Noor is there from EBTC, from European Union, and there are so many incubation centers and startups are there. And EBTC is the best incubation center from India. So all guys from startups and incubation centers, and from our various parts of Europe and other countries, we are welcoming to all our participants and all members, but we have to wait 1 minute more because the participants are joining. So we will be starting within 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
Hello, Kapil, please, can you introduce everyone to each one?
Uh, yeah, we will start within 2 minutes because the startups is joining. So we are giving only 2 minutes to the participants. They have to join. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Because all the participants is joining from various parts of abroad and India. So, dear Mr. Distinguished panelist, dear participants and colleagues, my name is Kapil Parashar. It's really my pleasure to be here today and welcome you our event webinar on entrepreneurship and fundraising in post-COVID and present world conflict. So we are jointly working with the Ministry of Information Technology, and the program Startup Mantra is available for Startup Mantra Hub, MITI Hub in portal, and it's available for 23rd of June. So everyone can join with MSH, Mighty Startup Hub, and register there with this program. We are selecting 250 startups and more than 4 to 5 incubation centers. There are 4 to 5 IITs with us and funding agencies with us. So it's an integrated approach to fight with the post-COVID scenario and the present world conflict right now. So the main issue of the startups in India and abroad also right now is, I'm saying not funding, but it's on market access. So funding is the second one, but the market access is the first one for that. So for this, we are welcoming Mr. Vincent van Noord from European Union, head of EBTC India. We are welcome Sava Jitsonvich, CEO and MD TP.rs from Serbia. We welcome Mr. Dalmia, he is a legal expert. Mr. Manish Tuli, he will join us as an expert, finance expert, to how to raise the funding in this scenario. Mr. Neeraj, Mr. Sachin is from NSDL, and what is the NSDL support to the Indian startups? So these are our main panelists. Mr. Goyal, he's from IIT Kharagpur, and he has worked with the MSME for last 5 years as an startup expert and entrepreneurship expert from MSME and SMEs in India. So I hope that this meeting is not a webinar, but we want this meeting is one-to-one interaction after the meeting, and we want to provide the projects from abroad to the startups, to the incubation centers, and we want to raise funds from the various grants and funds available from India and abroad also. As an ambassador of Euroxis, I will share only 1 or 2 slides of Horizon 2020 in the last, and I want welcome to Mr. Noor. First of all, it's our honor that Mr. Noor had joined from European Union and EBTC Incubation Center. So I will providing the floor to the Noor, and most welcome Mr. Noor, and after that we will move how can we interact with other people who are joined abroad as a project head in different parts of Europe and other countries. So welcome to Mr. Noor, and now floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Kapil. Very honored to be here. Great pleasure. Great to see a good big group of people who are interested in the space. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vincent Van Oord, and indeed I work with the EBTC, the European Business and Technology Center. And just to clarify, we are not part of the European Union. We are an independent body. We actually, when we started out in 2008, we were an EU co-funded project. It was a project for 8 years, and the idea was to promote technologies and solutions from SMEs from Europe to India that had to do with climate change. And in the process, we did a lot of activities, a lot of events, a lot of studies and research, etc., partnerships, B2B meetings, etc. The project ended in 2016, and the idea was that it shouldn't stop there because it was quite successful. So they came up with the idea that there should be some continuation to the project. So in 2016, when the project ended, we transitioned to a not-for-profit company, and we continue the same mandate. Only we've expanded a little bit more. So we focus on the Europe-India business corridor, mainly for SMEs, and in areas like water, waste, energy, ICT, biodiversity, smart cities, infrastructure, etc. And what we do in the process is we see ourselves as facilitators and enablers, and we look to create opportunities for businesses on both sides of the pond. So we create, as per the demand in India. Initially, we look at how can we structure and develop a project around it. Projects, programs. We create our own initiatives like clusters, and we have different forums. So we have, for example, we have a sports cluster, we have an infrastructure cluster, we have an aviation cluster. We're working on a waste and renewable energy cluster. So the idea is that European companies who are interested in India, they can join this cluster. Indian counterparts who are also in that sector, they can also be part of this cluster. And together you see what is the demand in this particular area, where are the opportunities, how can we seize these opportunities. Sometimes we create and develop our own opportunities. So we come up with a concept on how we can do maybe a demonstration or a pilot project, and we propose this to maybe a government agency. And this is a good way for a company from Europe to come to India. And learn the ropes, be part of an ecosystem, maybe find some partners, do a project on the ground in which you get a lot of learning, and that will help you to enter the market. So these are some things that we do as an organization. So just to be clear, we are not the EU, but we work very closely with the EU. In the process, we also we bid for projects, EU tenders, of which a couple we've been successful, and we've in various consortia we are also executing EU funded projects. So. But today is about startups and SMEs, and of course it's great to see that there is so much. There's so many opportunities for startups, for creative entrepreneurs who have interesting business plans, technologies, solutions, innovations, and of course India is booming. I think there's 102nd unicorn has now come out of India, which is of course fantastic. But what is a startup? Is it a couple of college buddies who come after university? They come together, they develop a prototype in the attic, and then they try to set it up in the market. Do they have a proof of concept, or are they the next level? Have they already created something that is, some actual market, proof of concept where they've actually selling it in the market and they become successful? Or do we call also an Oyo or a Zomato? Is that also a startup? I mean, I think it's quite broad. What a startup is? Actually, the Oyos and the Zomatos, we call them scale-ups. We're talking about internationalization, right? How can these startups and scale-ups go international? And in my case, it would be to the European region. But so my question is also, if you're a startup, you're a small company, you're just getting out there, right? You're keeping your overheads low. You're trying to get into the market. You're trying to scale. Why would you want to go abroad? What about the Indian market, the local market? I think there are a lot of schemes and incentives and support you can get within India, like the PLI, which is the product linked investment scheme from the Indian government, MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and IT, like couple mentioned, MSH, MeitY Startup Hub is doing a lot. The MSME Ministry is doing a lot. There are a lot of schemes. Have the startups, have they already considered the Indian market? Is there technology or solution or product? Is the Indian market not fit for it? Or is the market already saturated? Why? So I'll come to it later. What could be benefit of staying in India? But if you do think that you should go abroad and to a place like Europe, there's a lot of questions and a lot of homework that you need to do before you do so, because is your whatever product or service or technology or solution you have, is there a market for it? Which market? Would you go to Norway? Would you go to Spain? Would you go to the UK? And why? Is there, and there are also a lot of cultural differences. There's rules and regulations, different taxations. There's different currencies. There's the language barrier. So you really need to see, how do you go about it? How does it make sense, really? Because it's also expensive. You don't have the resources, etc. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it, but there's quite a bit that you need to consider before making that move. But I'll mention it later. There are a couple of initiatives also where even we are involved as an organization where we support such companies to do that, to help them prepare to go abroad, which I'll touch upon later. And at the same time, from the European side, there are plenty of startups, scale-ups, and SMEs who are looking to come to India. So in my view, for many startups, and this will not go for everybody, but the companies that are looking to come to India, they also need good partners locally in India, because alone they cannot do it. As a small company who also doesn't have large bandwidth or resources or financial means, and who do not know the Indian market and who are not familiar with the culture and the rules and regulations and taxations, etc. It's good to team up with a local partner. So somebody, maybe you're a startup, you have a good technology, a good product, and there is a European counterpart who might complement what you're doing. They can, you can then jointly look to see how you can maybe cultivate your own product, merge the two, potentially manufacture in India, for which there are a lot of benefits and incentives and tax breaks. Develop it there. Look at the Indian market initially, maybe for these products. Try to conquer the Indian market, and then once that is successful, or you can also then scale up to other markets like the European region. That could be a way for collaborations and help you to grow as well. So you don't grow alone, but you grow with a partner who we've already linked up with in India. Another issue that is very relevant for the European market is the fact that the quality, the standards, the SDGs, lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the supply chain, is it all fair trade, child labor, is it sustainability, carbon neutral? All these things are super important when you go to Europe. So you need to have all that in place in order for them to accept your product or technology in the European market. So that is also something you need to consider. So just a bit of a background as to how things can maybe be made a little bit more have a more structured process while linking up with European partner, because there are so many out there, and there's so many will be looking for partners. So I think there'll be, like, in the short term, there'll be a lot of opportunities there to to link up with these European companies, and that will also help the Indian counterparts to grow, to scale up, to come to that standard, to come to these levels, and then adhere to the different criteria that are required for the European region. I'll just share a couple of initiatives that are there. So there are some initiatives that where from the Indian side, they support SME startups and SMEs to go to Europe, but also from the European side to India. One of the initiatives by the European Union, which is called the Enterprise Europe Network, this is a project that has been going on for several years now, and we EBTC are the lead consortium partner. Our contract has just been extended again. I think we've been doing it now for 6 years or so, where there's 3 million SMEs are linked to this program, and there are several representatives, regional representatives across the European continent. So in one particular country, you can have several representatives who represent SMEs in that particular area, and it can be in any sector. And what they're looking is to support these SMEs from their regions to with several things, and one of them is to internationalize. So they are looking for, and they'll do it globally, but India is also, of course, on the market. And they have this online tool where, with support from their EEN, let's say, partner, they can punch in what exactly they're looking for, and then that request comes to us in India, and then we, for example, if it's for India, and then we can help them, to see if we can facilitate that. And it could be it can be anywhere. It could be in trade or export or manufacturing, etc. So, but it's actually a huge database, which is very, very interesting, I think. And what they also do, they do a lot of events, matchmaking events, B2B events, etc. We do them in India as well, and they also happen in Europe at the same time. So that is one sort of initiative that is there with over 3 million SMEs out of Europe. Another initiative that is there is EBTC has created an initiative called Access to Innovation. So innovators from Europe who are looking to internationalize to areas like India, we support them with finding them, teaching a little bit the ropes of India, getting them familiar with the ecosystem, and introducing them to Indian counterparts. So innovative solutions coming to India, and as kind of on the lines of what I spoke about earlier. There's an EU project called EU India InnoCenter. They look for accelerate to scale to India. This is for startups that can come to India. If anybody is interested in any of these initiatives, you can contact me afterwards. No worries, I can direct you. So this is a project that we are not involved in, but it's a good initiative, and I think there's very good output from there. We, as an organization, EBTC, we have a Discover Europe program for startups. We've created this with MSH, Métis Startup Hub, and us, and an organization from Germany called Startup Campus Global. So what we do is it's just starting, where we select 20 odd startups, promising startups, and we do all kinds of activities with them, with workshops, guidance, mentoring, and then helping them to know about the various markets, help them identify which markets could be relevant for them, for the Indian startups to go to Europe, giving some insights on that particular market, helping with the communication strategy, and then ultimately, when everything is prepared, introduce them to potential partners and to potential investors. That is something that we're looking at. There's also a pre-internationalization program, which EBDC is doing in collaboration with the India SME Forum. India SME Forum has over SMEs as a member. It's CB Richard Ellis, and Vamsa Batra, who's based in Germany. And there we look at module-based training and capacity building sessions, value propositions, operational excellence, standards, building distribution networks, business ethics, etc. So again, this is like a prep situation where we support startups and SMEs, more so SMEs actually, to help them go with do their homework before they enter into the European market. The EU has come up with a project called the EU-India Business Support to the Policy Dialogue. There are various policy dialogues going on between Europe and India, and in this case, they're focusing mainly on areas that have to do with climate change, so on water or renewable energy, resource efficiency, urbanization, etc. And so these are government-to-government dialogues that are going on. And they created this project, the Business Support Project, where the idea was to create, from these dialogues, that business opportunities actually arise out of this. And in the process, a lot of research is being done, a lot of interaction and engagements and stakeholders, consultation sessions. And this is has been documented, and the next phase is going to come out now, and there'll be clear opportunities on how SMEs can, collaborate better, how we create opportunity for European SMEs in India in these particular sectors. We will, of course, open a lot of doors for SMEs in India because they will need local partners. So that is something also that will be coming in, I think, later this year. Finally, there's a project that we have done in Kapil mentioned there are a couple of IITs on the call. We did a project together with METI, with the Smart City Mission, and the IIIT University in Hyderabad, where we've created a Smart City Living Lab. The campus of IIIT is the Living Lab, and we look at what are the challenges that several smart cities face. How can we come up with solutions where we can develop proof of concepts within the lab itself, within the university campus, and we do this together with startups. These startups, they have the opportunity to demonstrate their technology in a live environment among the students in the Living Lab. And if it's successful, you have a platform where you can demonstrate this to local governments. But also, since we have European companies in there as well, you also have a platform to showcase this to the European counterparts. We're also getting European players to come and demonstrate their technology. So it's a whole ecosystem we create where public, private, academia, research and development, and startups, SMEs, and even multinationals come together. They create, they ideate, they develop, they test. They prove, and then what is there, they scale. So this is also a platform where, this could be a springboard for SMEs and startups to also venture out into European markets because they get that visibility.
Thank you.
Sorry, did you say something, Kapil?
No, please carry on.
Okay, no, I'll stop there with my monologue.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Here for Q&A if required.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Noor, and this is my pleasure that you will be there because there are so many startups from Serbia, UK, and Canada who are just connecting with the Indian startups and incubation centers with this platform. It's a joint platform for MSH, Mighty Startup Hub, and Startup Mantra. So right now we have more than 15 projects from abroad are connecting with India. So all the presentation and all the MNCs will represent their projects after half an hour from you. But we have few questions from your side. Can you please provide the integrated approach for this post-COVID mechanism as a global partner? What is your approach after COVID? Is there any new opportunities after COVID you have mentioned in your speech, or it's the same opportunities available before COVID, or you have added something more, right? And because we need an integrated approach to the startups as a global partner or as an Indian partner. And yeah, I have receiving so many questions, so we will forward you after the event, and you will answer accordingly. So please tell me what are the approaches you are looking as an integrated approach in post-COVID. What you have added after COVID in your policies and as a guidelines for startups? Are you doing some ease of, you can say ease of doing for startups after COVID, or it's the same before COVID, your policies and your guidelines?
Kapil, you have to turn on his microphone.
Sorry, thanks, Ava. Yes, so I think one of the positive things that have come out of this, horrible situation is that people are much more open now to have these online sessions. Earlier, when we were engaging with government agencies, they also always had to be physical meetings, and now, it's easier to connect. So that is a positive thing. So I think moving forward, we will, luckily now things are. I don't know if it's going in the wrong direction again, but let's be positive and say that things are getting better. So we will be looking at much more physical interaction. There's all the embassies, they're exploding with visa requests, and they cannot handle them anymore. So India is, a lot of people are traveling to Europe this summer. So I think that's time that people are looking a lot more at physical engagements and interactions, and I think that's the way forward. But I think it should be very much hybrid as well. Of course, it's also much cheaper to do things online. So I think from a cost perspective, to have it in initially do things virtually, and ultimately when things develop further, when they reach a certain stage, then there can be more physical engagements. I think that in a post-COVID scenario, we're getting back to that, which is of course a positive phenomenon.
Oh, great. So, Sava, if you have any questions, and Mr. Emmanuel, he has joined from Canada. If because you are the best European, you can say startups who are joined with us, and you have more than 20 to 25 projects in smart cities and smart living sector. So, if you want any support from EBTC, can you you want to ask something from Nood, or we will go forward from other speakers?
Kapil, I didn't hear. Who are you addressing?
I am addressing Mr. You, Sava.
Can you please repeat, because I didn't hear well?
Okay. Yeah, please, if you have any questions, because you are from our abroad partner, and you are presenting your projects in front of after within 20 minutes. So if you have any questions from EBTC and you are looking from support from EBTC in India, so what support you are looking?
At the moment I don't have questions. This sounds like so.
Okay,
I
great.
can't really.
Okay, great. So we will in a few minutes. You have to provide your projects to our startups and incubation center. So right now we will move forward to Mr. KK Agrawal. He's from the best partner, and he's from IIT Kharagpur. And now I want to introduce Mr. KK Agrawal, and I want to introduce to Mr. KK Agrawal as one of the best. Entrepreneur, coach, and advisor for MSME. He has worked MSME for last 35 years, and he is from IIT Kharagpur also. So it's an short brief because he has a long experience, and I have no words for him. So I invite Mr. KK Agrawal, and the floor is yours, sir. Please. Mr. K.K. Goyal. Mr. K.K. Goyal. Now the floor is yours, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you
Kapil?
are. Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kapil, for giving me this opportunity. And just for 1 minute, I would like to introduce myself again. I'm Dr. K.K. Goyal, and I have worked for approximately 30 years in Ministry of MSME, Government of India, in various capacity, and I had the opportunity to interact with many of the MSMEs and the startups during my career. I have been mentor to several startups also, and being the central government agency, we were responsible for formulating the policies of promotion and development for MSMEs in the India, and at the same time we have been implementing some of these schemes directly. Otherwise, most of these schemes were implemented through state government agencies. So my intention in this session will be to clarify whether MSME and startups are different or they are the same. As far as I consider that all startups are MSMEs, more or less. Generally, these startups don't think that they are MSME because micro, small, and medium enterprise, they think that they are very big thing, and they want to be identified at a different identity, okay, different entity altogether. But you see, as far as definition in India of any MSME goes, it is just like this for investment in plant and machinery and what is the turnover. Say if the turnover is less than 5 crore and investment in plant and machinery is 1 crore, that is a micro enterprise. And if the investment goes in plant and machinery goes to 10 crore and turnover every year is up to 50 crore, it is a small enterprise. And if the investment in plant and machinery goes up to 50 crore and the turnover goes to 250 crore, it is a medium enterprise. So most of those, most of those which fall under this category of startups, particularly in their nascent stage, in the initial stage, are in the micro industries itself, even not small and medium. And when they have little funding and they grow little bigger, then they fall into the category of small and medium enterprises. But that is a dream. So there are a lot of facilities which are available to startups in India through Startup India Hub, and I'm sure most of the participants here, particularly those who are from India, they must be very well aware that what are the schemes, what are the benefits which are available to startups. But generally, they are not aware of this, that there are multiple schemes of Ministry of MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises, which elsewhere are known as small and medium enterprises. And in US, it is known as SMB, that is small and medium business. So there are multiple schemes, multiple beneficiary schemes, which are applicable to MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises in India. Since I'm telling that these startups also fall into the category of micro, small, medium enterprises, so obviously those benefits can be taken by startups also. So for this, as they have got registered in startup portal and they get registered as a startup in India, then only they can avail the benefits. Similarly, if you want to avail the benefits of MSME, being an MSME, you have to get yourself registered as MSME. And as far as this registration of MSME in India is concerned, it is very simple, very, very simple, I must say. You have to go to Udyam registration portal, it is .gov.in, and you have to fetch the details of your business, your name, your organization's name, your PAN number, your GST number, your bank account number, your address, the products you are dealing with, what is the investment in plant and machinery, not the building and land and building, etc., not the working capital, only the plant and machinery, only the equipments you can say, what is the investment in that, and what has been your turnover. Based on this, you will be allotted the number. No form, no documents is to be uploaded, and no payment is to be made. Automatically, in due course of time, maybe in a day or two, sometimes instantly, the certificate is generated. That is Udyam registration. It is the MSME certificate. Here, I will like to draw your attention for a moment. When you go online and try to find out that how to register yourself as an MSME in India, there are some of the websites which are private websites, and those are actually misleading the entrepreneurs. Those are the actually private website, and they do charge the money, and they do ask for your personal data, which may be put to any misuse. So I will warn that the proper website has the extension, URL extension of gov.in, that is Government of India. You must go on this portal only, on this website only. It is udyamregistration.gov.in. If you find it difficult to go for this, you can go to msme.gov.in, MSME, Government of India, and on this you will find a link from where you can go for the Udyam registration. Earlier, this Udyam registration was known as Udyog Aadhaar. Some of you may be having Udyog Aadhaar registration, but since 30th June 2022, this Udyog Aadhaar registration will be cancelled. It will not be valid, and you have to migrate to Udyam registration. Again, the facility of Udyam registration is available. It is free of cost. I hope there is no doubt in this. Let me repeat it very clearly again. Any startup can register itself on MSME free of cost. So all the benefits which are applicable to MSMEs can be availed by the startup also. I would like to pause here for one moment. I would like to take the questions if there is any question from any of the participants.
Yeah, actually,
Yes,
we
sir.
have,
So my question is about agri-tech. If you have any specific benefits or scheme for agri-tech startups, early stage agri-tech startups who are in
We do have.
manufacturing machineries.
Can you please tell your name?
My name is Hitendra Singh, sir. My startup
Hitendra
name is agri-tech.
Okay. Now, Mr. Jitan Singh,
We
I
are
would like to-
building a smart sorting machine
Smart
for fruits and vegetables. Smart
Smart?
sorting machine.
sorting
Sorting machine.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorting machine. Very good. Any other question?
No, sir. This
Sir, I
is
have a question.
Sir,
Yeah. Sure.
I have a
Please.
Saurabh Vyas here from Yogni Tech. So the question is, I mean, we already have an Udyog Aadhaar. Can, based on Udyog Aadhaar, can we have a direct migration to the new, I mean, Udyam, whatever the
Udyam
process you
registration.
mentioned?
Udyam registration. Let us keep on talking about this Udyam registration. Yes.
So, I mean, by providing our Udyog Aadhaar, I mean, we have already provided all the data already,
Wait a
all
minute.
the, yeah. So can that be migrated automatically, or we have to do a registration
No.
again?
You have to apply for that. It is very simple process. Acha, any other question? I would like to take the question so that I can address all the questions simultaneously.
sir, this side Pratima Tiwari from Apt Health Ventures Private Limited. Sir, we are all our startup is already registered under Udyam registration, and we are opening e-clinics in the rural area. So, what kind of benefit I can get from that MSME or this?
What you are manufacturing? What you are doing?
We are opening e-clinics in the rural areas.
E-clinics.
Yes.
Okay. Rural area. Anything else? Anybody else?
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
yeah,
So, let me clear
Mr.
first of all. Mr.
Yeah, sorry for disturbing you. We are getting few questions from our participants. They are asking that Udyam Aadhaar is a different thing they can do, and we will provide a separate mentor for them. And you have very well mentioned about the Udyam registration for that. Now they want to.
Let me try to answer this. Just a minute, sir. Let me
Okay.
answer these questions. These are very valid questions, and this must be raised by almost everybody, all the participants. So let me address first thing first. You see, earlier this registration was known as Udyog Aadhaar. This Udyog Aadhaar has been replaced with Udyam registration. When it was introduced in 2020, it was said that till 31st December 2020, this Udyog Aadhaar will also
Hello.
be valid and Udyam registration will also be valid. Then the date has been extended. Now the last date for the validity of Udyog Aadhaar is 30th June 2022. Now, Mr. Saurabh, you are already having Udyog Aadhaar. You simply visit on the Udyam registration site. They have two options. If you are pre-existing, if you are already having Udyog Aadhaar, then you click on that tab. If you don't have this one, Udyog Aadhaar, if you are newly applying, then you have to click on that. If you are tabbing on this, the new tab which says pre-registered with Udyog Aadhaar, then the data will be populated from Udyog Aadhaar. Okay, and rest of the data you have to fill up. Again, there is no extra charge for anything. Please be very well aware, because we have been receiving many of the complaints where many persons say that they have paid 1,999 rupees, 1,499 rupees, 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, even 5,000 rupees for getting this registration. It is all futile. You should not get trapped. You have to apply at your own. Very simple. If you can't apply, there are government agencies which can help you free of cost. Otherwise, you can see the videos, etc. It is very simple. You should go for this. So, Mr. Saurabh, please apply to switch over to migrate to Udyam registration from Udyog Aadhaar. Now, there are some questions like they are already having this Udyam registration and they want to know that what are the benefits available, right? Somebody says, I have agri clinic, whether I have the facility or not. I have manufactured some food processing industries, equipments, whether this is applicable to us or not, or something like this. Let me clear the things first, because so far I have not said that what are the benefits which are available to them. Okay. So first of all, I just wanted to clarify two things. Number one, if you are a startup, you are also an MSME. In 99.9% cases, if you are a startup, you are also an MSME. But at the same time, I'll say more than 90% of the startups, they don't know that they also fall into the category of MSME. Clear? I'm really happy that some of you are aware of it and you have got yourself registered, but many of them have not yet registered. This is one thing. So please get registered free of cost, no document to be uploaded, no fees is to be paid. Then secondly, I wanted to say how you can get yourself registered as MSME. You will be getting the benefit of MSME only if you are registered. What is the criteria of being an MSME? If the investment in plant and machinery is up to 1 crore, turnover 5 times of 1 crore, that is 5 crore, up to 5 crore, then you are a micro enterprise. If your investment in plant and machinery is up to 10 crore, your turnover is up to 50 crore, you are a small enterprise. If your investment in plant and machinery is 50 crore, your turnover is up to 250 crore, you are a medium enterprise. I hope these points are clear. I will be taking that what are the benefits later on. First of all, if anybody is having any doubt, what is an MSME and how to get registered as an MSME, then question should be asked, otherwise I will move. I just give half a minute for this. If there is any doubt, what is MSME and how to get registered as MSME. Benefits, I am not talking now. I will be talking that later. Is there any question till this?
हेलो
Yeah.
हाँ सर नमस्कार सर ये सारी बातें इंग्लिश में हो रही है थोड़ा हिंदी में हमारे को
इंग्लिश हिंदी दोनों बता देता हूँ ठीक है चलो कोई बात ठीक है गुड तो आई विल बी यूजिंग बोथ लैंग्वेजेस देखो साहब जितने स्टार्टअप्स हैं सारी की सारी एमएसएमई में है 99.9% स्टार्टअप जो है एमएसएमई में आती है लेकिन 90% से ज्यादा स्टार्टअप जो है वो अपने आप को एमएसएमई नहीं करती क्योंकि उन्हें पता ही नहीं है उनको लगता है स्टार्टअप अलग है एमएसएमई अलग है ठीक है साहब क्लियर हो गई बात अगर एमएसएमई की डेफिनेशन ये है अगर 1 करोड़ तक का इन्वेस्टमेंट हो प्लांट एंड मशीनरी में लैंड बिल्डिंग रॉ मटेरियल वर्कर कैपिटल वगैरह वगैरह नहीं है सिर्फ मशीनरी में अगर 1 करोड़ तक का इन्वेस्टमेंट है 5 करोड़ की उसकी टर्नओवर है 1 साल में तो माइक्रो है अगर 10 करोड़ का उसका लगा हुआ पैसा मशीनरी में और टर्नओवर जो है 50 करोड़ तक का है तो वो स्मॉल है अगर उसका 50 करोड़ तक का इन्वेस्टमेंट है प्लांट एंड मशीनरी में और टर्नओवर 250 करोड़ है, 250 करोड़, वो मीडियम एंटरप्राइज। क्लियर हो गई सर मेरी बात? रजिस्ट्रेशन के लिए उद्यम registration.gov.in के पोर्टल है, इस पे जाना है। अगर आपको कंफ्यूजन हो आप msme.gov.in पे जाइए, उस पे उसका एक लिंक है, उस पे चले जाइए। एमएसएमई का रजिस्ट्रेशन करने के लिए कोई भी पैसा देने की जरूरत है, कोई भी डॉक्यूमेंट को अपलोड नहीं करना, आपके सेल्फ डिक्लेरेशन के बेसिस पे सारी चीजें हो जाती हैं। जीएसटी वगैरह का डिटेल जो लेती है वो अपने आप ही बैंक से उसको वेरीफाई कर लेती है। ठीक है सर, एनी डाउट?
ओके सर, ओके।
Okay. I think there is no doubt in this. What is MSME? Are MSMEs are a startup of MSME and how to get registered as an MSME. Now, MSME के सर कई फायदे हैं। फायदा नंबर 1 समझिए आप कि इसके बेसिस पे लोन जो मिलता है वो प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग होती है। ठीक है, जैसे गवर्नमेंट में एग्रीकल्चर जो है प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग है, ऐसी एमएसएमई में प्रायोरिटी सेक्टर लेंडिंग है। अभी मैं इसकी बात नहीं कर रहा, मैं दूसरी बात तो कर रहा हूं। मान लीजिए आप किसी ट्रेड फेयर में जाते हैं, किसी भी ट्रेड फेयर में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं इंडिया के अंदर, और आप एक एमएसएमई हैं, तो आपको वहां पे स्टॉल के लिए चार्जेस 1.5 लाख रुपए तक के रिइंबर्स हो जाएंगे। 1.5 lakhs, 1,50,000। If you are participating in any trade fair in India, and if you are an MSE rather, micro and small enterprise, this scheme is not for medium enterprises. If you are an MSE, micro and small enterprises, तो आपको 1.5 lakhs के जो स्टॉल चार्जेस होंगे ये आपको रिइंबर्स हो जाएगा। से स्टॉल चार्जेस आर 2 lakhs rupees, then you will be reimbursed up to 1.5 lakhs. If stall charges are up to 1 lakh, you will be reimbursed up to 1 lakh. I hope this point is clear. There is one more additional component into this. Apart from stall charges, you can be given reimbursement of 25,000 also. This is for traveling, transportation, freight and advertisement. If you have spent advertisement पे, publicity पे और travel करने पे 25,000 रुपए तक खर्च किए होंगे, आप उसके बिल्स लगा दीजिए। So you will be getting, so the total amount of reimbursement comes down to be 1,50,000 plus 25,000. I hope my point is clear. Any doubt on this? Because actually I will like to say, you please try to understand the schemes in detail so that you are not facing any problem at the time of getting reimbursed. Otherwise, I can keep on saying about all these schemes in one row. It is very easy for me to say this is the scheme, this is the scheme, this is the scheme, but it will add to the confusion. It will just be a touch and move. I will like to emphasize on particular those schemes which are directly beneficial to all the startups, because participating in the exhibitions, अगर आप किसी मेले में किसी एग्जीबिशन में पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं तो उससे आपकी विजिबिलिटी और रीच बहुत ज्यादा हो जाती है। वहां पे बहुत सारे लोग आते हैं जो कि आपके कस्टमर्स हो सकते हैं, इसलिए मैंने इस स्कीम को बताया आपको। I will like to take the questions from the audience if there is any question related to this participation in the exhibition.
Hello.
Please,
सर दिस साइड प्रतिमा तिवारी। सर ये जो 1.5 लाख का रिइंबर्समेंट है, एक तो ये स्टॉल्स के लिए है, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस द एडवर्टाइजमेंट एंड ट्रैवलिंग के लिए 25,000।
जी
ओके, तो क्या ये सिर्फ जब हम स्टॉल के लिए जाएंगे तभी है, या फिर सिर्फ नॉर्मल एडवर्टाइजमेंट और ट्रैवलिंग के लिए भी यूज कर सकते हैं?
नहीं, उसके लिए नहीं। दिस इज रिलेटेड टू पर्टिकुलर एग्जीबिशन, वो एक एग्जीबिशन से रिलेटेड है। उस एग्जीबिशन में आप पार्टिसिपेट करती हैं, स्टॉल चार्जेस हो गए और साथ में उसके एडवर्टाइजमेंट और पब्लिसिटी करते हैं। तो आप अगर उस पे स्टॉल नहीं लेते हैं तो ये दूसरी चीजों का मतलब नहीं है।
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Hello. Hi sir. Hello. Sir, if we spend on this digital marketing, can we get some benefit on that part?
No, it is not for digital marketing, unfortunately.
Okay.
Come on, I will like to answer this type of questions because these questions are really very useful to everybody, all the participants. Please raise the questions.
सर ट्रेड फेयर्स होते हैं तो ये अगर एक से ज्यादा होंगे तो इन ऑल हमें एक साल में या एक ड्यूरेशन ऑफ टाइम में 1.5 लाख मिलेगा?
Just a minute. Madam, what's your name?
Sir, I'm Pooja Sharma from Cutting Edge Medical Devices.
Very good. I deliberately didn't tell this because I wanted that this type of thing should come from you. Any particular MSME is allowed 2 times in a year. For
2
two fairs,
times in a year.
any 2
Okay.
fairs. Okay. But at the same time, now I'll go into nitty-gritty of this. It is not that you can go to any exhibition at your own and claim it. There is a procedure involved into this. And
Okay.
for the details, you can visit a website that is www.dcmsme.gov.in. www.dc. Pardon?
DC.
DC, Development Commissioner.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Or even you can go to msme.gov.in, MSME Government of India. It is very easy to remember.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In this, if you go to this, what is the marketing support level? So this is one of the marketing support. Okay. This is known as EMS scheme also. At the same time, you see, since everything cannot be told in this webinar, what actually I will be doing, I will be requesting Mr. Parashar also that my number can be shared.
Yeah, sir. Your number and your number will be
Email.
shared after, and email will be all the speakers' mail and ID, mail ID and mobile number will be shared after the webinar. And I think
Yes. So that will be more effective because you see, during this webinar itself, many of the things are not very clear.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you see, the time cannot be extended beyond a limit. So if there is any doubt, any help required, so later on you can come through beyond this one, who are the organizer of this, or you can directly contact me. There is no issue. Clear?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Acha, so in this, it is not that you can move in any of the exhibition and then claim it. You have to visit the website. You have to see whether that exhibition is approved or not. If it is not approved, then the organizing committee, organizer of that exhibition should put a request to the ministry that I am organizing this exhibition, and this exhibition is useful to the participants of MSME. So it is included. There is a committee to include it, and many of the exhibitions are included into this. Then once it is approved, then anybody can apply. So there is a list of approved exhibitions available on the site. One can go to that and then one can find out. I hope my point is clear.
Thank you so much, sir.
So how the startup, startup fraternity find this? Is this a good scheme or it is a bad scheme?
Sir, very nice.
So very
Very
helpful.
nice. Okay. So I would like to have an honest feedback. Did you know about it? Say yes or no. Everybody
No.
has to say yes or no.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, we never knew
Anybody
about
who
it.
can say yes? No, nobody is saying yes. So I
No,
think my
sir.
purpose.
Didn't knew.
Okay.
So
my
recently,
purpose is-
even we were a part of the trade fair that was held in Delhi by BIRAC, and PM sir, he was there. So we were a part of it, but we never knew that something like this was there for MSMEs.
You see, that's where I say knowledge is power, and knowledge comes from information. Okay.
Sure.
And this type of webinars which we are organizing now, these are really useful to us. Even with what information of this, you can save lakhs of rupees, isn't it?
Very true.
So this is one of the things. Now, one more scheme I will like to share with you. If you are in MSME and you have supplied some of the materials to somebody, to some good organization, government organization and big organizations, okay, and you are not getting the payment. They have said that you have supplied the material worth, say, 10 lakh rupees. There was an agreement between you and the buyer, and you have supplied the material, they have accepted the material, they have used the material, they were supposed to make the payment, but they are not making the payment due to one reason or the other. You try to pursue them, कि बाबा make the payment, हमारा जो payment है उसको payment को clear कर दीजिए, but still they are not doing it. So you become helpless because you are smaller in size. So for this, there is a scheme. It is delayed payment scheme for MSME. One portal is there, that is Samadhan. Samadhan is one portal where you can put the grievance. You can say that I need to be paid by so and so organization, and it is worth 10 lakhs. It is due since last 3 months, 4 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 years, but the payment has not been made. You have to upload the documents to support your claim. It can be invoice, it can be the agreement, and it can be the receipt that the material has been received. And even if there is any communication, you can add that to expedite the situation. Then it is converted into a case. Say, for example, if you belong to Delhi, you have supplied the material to a firm, an organization located in Chennai, and the payment is not being made. Generally, you see, in business, the relationship is not spoiled easily. Payment was to be made, say, within 1 month's time, 2 months' time. So, but say for 6 months' time, in spite of your persuasion, it has not been paid. Then you can put this on this, and a case will be raised, and the buyer, the person who is defaulter, will be asked to visit Delhi because the case will be made in Delhi. We have an MSC FC, Micro Small Enterprises Facilitation Center. So in that, a case will be raised. Ki Baba, you have to make the payment. Why are you not making the payment? If it is a government agency, then to the head of that department, the letter will be sent from Ministry of MSME, Government of India. So and so, ABC Enterprises, which is an MSME, owes the payment, actually needs the payment to be made by so and so XYZ company, your company, and the payment has not been made for no fault of ABC MSC. Then that party has to make the payment within 45 days time. Then they are given this one. Either they will be given the explanation why it has not been done, and generally it is decided that after 45 days, whatever is the time applicable, three times the interest rate, prevailing interest rate, is the penalty, and the payment is made. Is my point clear? Now I am waiting for
Yes,
the
sir.
clarifying questions.
Sir,
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have
please.
a question. That is, what is the timeline within which this decision is taken for payment? That is one question.
Hmm.
And suppose an inordinate, how this is enforced? If somebody is not making the payment, what is the procedure for getting the orders enforced? The third question is that in case this exercise is not successful, because this is not treated as a court, in that particular case, will the law of limitation apply and I will have to go to the court? These are my questions.
Wonderful question, sir. May I know your name, please?
I am Vijay Pal Dalmia, sir. I am an advocate, sir.
Vijay Pal Dalmia Sahab. And you are the corporate lawyer.
Yes, sir. Me and Manish are the corporate lawyers.
So, sir, I need not to say you. I need not to tell you. Anyway,
I want
it
to hear from you because you have
Yes.
the practical experience.
it is good, sir. Sir, moreover, it is really good. You see, you have raised very valid questions. This cannot be enforced. Okay. But this has come out as a rescue to many of the persons, particularly if the payment is stuck up in the government sector. The rule is silent on this, that it is applicable to the government and public sectors only. But you yourself can understand, in public sector, it is easier to enforce by the government. Okay. Deliberately, the ministry has been silent on this, whether it is applicable to big corporate houses also and even to small enterprises also, to just include them. So for the big, as far as government corporate is concerned, public sector is concerned, the success rate is very high because it goes to the secretary, it goes to the CMDs of those organizations, and generally the payments are withheld at a very lower level, at the field level. Okay. Maybe because of some minor level and something like this, they try to find out some minor fault and they try to resolve it when it comes from the top. Because at the same time, there is one more rule that every organization has to give the details that how much payment they owe to the MSME sector. You are aware of it, I believe.
Yes.
Right, sir?
Sir,
Okay.
sorry,
So,
sorry for
coordination.
disturbing you. We
Yeah,
have
sure.
next 3 or 4 speakers will be in the queue. So, and our next
I'm aware of.
speaker is
Sir,
want to left the
sir,
meeting. So, please, can we conclude within 2 or 3 minutes?
नहीं, Parashar Saab, you don't worry. Okay, you have seen me.
Yeah, I have seen. I
I
have
will
seen your
like to,
caliber.
I will like to be always effective.
And I want that a
Okay.
separate session will be done because the demand is high for your side. So we will.
Yes, I
Yes,
think we need a separate
a
session for
separate
KK
session.
Goyal
So
sir.
yeah. So we will arrange very soon to the separate session.
Anyway,
Thank you.
you see, by the way, I'm also an IITian and I have been a passionate worker in MSME sector. Okay. My strategy is always like this. You give less, but let it be most effective. There are 30-40 schemes. I could have gone on speaking. This is what generally every person who is from Ministry of MSME does. But I don't do this. I look for the audience. I try to identify few of the schemes which are useful, and then I tell the source from where they can find out the details of everything. Okay. So I just want to say, in this case, it cannot be enforced, but it has been very effective, particularly in government sector payment. Particularly, it helps because you don't have to spend much money on claiming this. Otherwise, it could have been very expensive. And thirdly, if you have a genuine payment and the party is not willing to pay, they can go for the amicable resolution. That is the mediator and all those things. But in that case, whatever is the penalty made, so they have to make 70% or 90% of that. I don't exactly remember. As the court fee, they have to deposit in the court and then only goes for the resolution. So it helps. Anyway, so sir, I think Dalmia sir,
Sir,
I will
talk to you. Sir.
I will seek your permission because really one cannot go into the nitty-gritty of this. But this is for sure that many of the cases have been resolved into this. Again, as usual, there are bogus cases also. There are incomplete information.
Sir, I have seen so many pending cases as well in mediation. When you refer these cases to mediation, their decisions are not being taken and their mediation is not taking place at all.
Even, sir, you are talking of the second stage. Even at the first stage, at the state government level itself, MSc, FC cases, lot of cases are pending. So that's why it was at the state level. Then later on, we suggested that let it be at the district level itself. So that actually many of the things can be, actually the power has to be delegated by the state government because this is the main execution is left with the state government. So that's where we have been facing the problem. So it has been put to state district level also. And now many of the states have adopted that to resolve it at the district level. And that's where the things are getting settled down a little bit more. One more last thing actually I would like to add, that every MSME entrepreneur should, rather actually I should say must visit websites of msme.gov.in and dcmsme.gov.in. This is one portal where you will get all the related portals link and all the information is available. All the schemes detail, up to date scheme is available. Even many of the cases, even the beneficiary details are also given into this, that who have taken the benefit of this. One and last thing I will like to say, just for 2 minutes. Recently, one portal has been created by Government of India to resolve the issues of MSMEs in any nook and corner of the country. One can visit the champions.gov.in. Champions.gov.in. This is one-stop solution. You raise your query, grievance, or any suggestion on this website portal. You write it in your own words, whatsoever way it is, in vernacular language also even. Give your mobile number, give your email address, and that grievance, that suggestion is to be addressed within 72 hours. Within 72 hours. And believe me, we have been trying, actually I'm an ex-MSME officer now. In our center in Delhi, we have been addressing this within 2 hours time, within 15 minutes time, within 24 hours, maximum 24 hours time. Very few, 1 or 2, 3 used to go for 72 hours because information gap is there. We used to give the information. This is where actually you have to go for. This is where you have to go for. and all those things were resolved. Most of the time it is resolved. So if you have any grievances, any suggestions, if you want to know about any of the scheme, like I told you about this scheme, you simply write down, I want to know about this scheme. Please give me the details. Then the detail will be provided to you. I think this is a very good thing. We must make use of such facilities which are available.
Sir, here I would like to add one thing. Whatever you have stated, that is perfectly right. The only word of caution to the audience is that if you are not able to recover your money within 2.5 years, you must approach courts for recovery of your money. Otherwise, on the basis of the law of limitations, your recovery rights in the courts will expire on the last day of third year. So you have to file the case before third year in any case if you have not been able to recover, if you have failed in your attempts to recover your money. So that is the word of caution I would like to add.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
good, sir. Very good, sir. Rather, actually, I have added this to my knowledge. Thank you, Mr. Dalmia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I will, sorry, Pratima, because the next speaker is there, and I will request to Mr. K.K. Goyal, sir, Dr. K.K. Goyal, sir, because the next, after Mr. Jaykant Singh, there are few corporates from Serbia has joined us for the startups and incubation centers, and one from Canada. They will provide their presentation to launch their projects in India and to make a perfect matchmake with the Indian startup. So you will be there. So you can categorize them and grade them also. So I will request Mr. Jaykant Singh right now on the dais, and the floor is yours, Mr. Jaykant Singh.
Question, sir.
Yeah,
I
you
need
will.
to ask KK Goyal, sir.
Yeah, please. Only within
Just
minute.
give me few seconds.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the thing is that as per MSME scheme, अगर हम उसमें register होते हैं, तो we will get the benefit from the bank also in taking loan, and that would be collateral free. What I came to know from that portal and everything. But when we are going to approach the bank, they are not helping us in that.
You see, I hope this is not being recorded, or is this being recorded? Is this meeting being recorded?
Yes, yes.
Please consider it recorded, sir.
If it is being recorded, I will not like to answer on this.
Okay, then I will connect you separately,
Pratima ji,
Mr. Pratima.
you can talk to me in person.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Please, sir, share your details, sir.
But the only thing is that कुछ सोने में खोट है, कुछ सुनार में खोट है, ठीक है ना? कभी आपके प्रोजेक्ट सही नहीं होते, कभी बैंकर को नॉलेज नहीं होती.
जी सर, जी सर.
So we have to have a matchmaking into this proper way में, then only it can be done.
अभी प्रतिमा जी, इसके लिए हमने एक और सुविधा दी है, या हमने रिवर्स कर दिया है. हमने बैंकर्स को बुलाया है पहली मीटिंग्स में, आपने उसको मिस किया है. वहाँ पहले बैंकर्स पास करता है, तब हम एमएसएमई को अप्रूवल कराते हैं पीएमएजीपी के अंदर. So you have to connect with our bankers who are listed in our Startup Mantra team. This is Punjab National Bank, SBI, and so many nationalized banks. So if your project is selected from their banks, then you will apply to the loan, and it is 100%, I think, disbursed from the
Very good.
their
Okay,
bank.
sir.
So
Thank you, sir.
I will share the details later. Now I will request
Please,
Mr.
sir.
Jaykant Singh. Mr. Jaykant is you can say the project head in NSDC before, and right now he is working with IITs and World Skill Council of India. So the floor is yours, Mr. Jaykant Singh.
थैंक यू सो मच कपिल साहब. सभी लोगों को मेरा नमस्कार. और आप वकील साहब को बैठाए हैं तो पहले ही डर लगने लगता है कि क्यों डालमिया साहब. तो अभी बहुत सही गोयल साहब ने जो ज्ञान आप लोगों को दिए हैं, बहुत ही बेसिक चीजें उन्होंने बताया है.
सर ये चूंकि प्रोग्राम जो है विदेशी लोग भी इसमें है, फॉरेनर्स, so I think it will be good if you speak in English.
Both, sir, both languages. We have only 5 minutes. जी सर, अभी इसके बाद उनका इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे हम आपको उनके प्रोजेक्ट सारे.
Okay, just
So
I
you
won't
will
take much time.
in both languages, sir. Please, Hindi also.
Thank you. So I believe the audience are mostly who are about to start or would have started a new venture. Am I right? Now, we just heard questions about funding. We just heard questions about not getting the payment released. I would rather talk of the basic things, that when you intend to do a startup, what are the areas of to be focused upon? One is we need a very focused project. How do you identify a project? Because end of the day, it has to be sustainable. Whatever we do, we should think of whether our efforts are sustainable or not. Now, to be sustainable, we have to identify projects where we have got a strength. We should not think of कि चलिए वो इन्होंने ये काम कर लिया, बहुत सक्सेसफुल हो गए तो मैं भी हो जाऊंगा. I think that's not the thing which is going to work for you. Every individual has to look after their own network, their own strength, और उनमें से आप चूज करें. You have to identify your project based on your network and your strength, your geography, your history, because those are the things where you will excel. And if until and unless you know your own strength, you won't be able to take it forward. So my humble submission is, first try to identify your strengths and then work on identify a project where you could contribute, which is well within your control, rather than where you have to be dependent mostly on others, especially for advice. So keep sustainability in mind कि मैं जो कुछ भी करूं उस प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में मैं खुद कन्विंस्ड हूं, वो उस पे मैं अपना दिमाग दे सकता हूं. हाँ, हमें कमियां संसाधन की होगी. संसाधन आप अलग अलग लोकेशन से, कनेक्ट से, गवर्नमेंट से, प्राइवेट से, there are multiple ways from which you could arrange resources. Resources could be of manpower, resources could be of fund, resources could be of material. ये मैनेजेबल हैं. मैनेजेबल क्या नहीं है कि प्रोजेक्ट की अपनी कंट्रोल होनी चाहिए. अपनी कंट्रोल मतलब आपको प्रोजेक्ट की थरो नॉलेज होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि इट्स नॉट organization works, it's not you and me. One people can't do anything, but the one people has to have a complete understanding कि अगर कोई कुछ करे तो आप कहीं भी रहो, आपको पता हो जाए कि लूप होल्स कहाँ है, कहाँ पे क्या गड़बड़ हो सकती है. So my advice would be that please focus for sustainability. जब आप प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं तो आप देखें कि वहाँ की ऐतिहासिक रिसोर्स क्या है, रॉ मटेरियल क्या है, वहाँ का कंजम्पशन क्या है, कंज्यूमर पैटर्न क्या है, क्या रॉ मटेरियल अवेलेबल है जिससे आप बना सकते हैं, वहाँ की स्किल गैप क्या है. सो वन इज प्रिपरेशन ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट, गेटिंग इट वैलिडेटेड बाय अ बैंक, लुकिंग फॉर skilled manpower who is going to support you to take your vision further. हमने देखा है कई प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन हो जाते हैं MSME से, but it doesn't take off because there is 10 to 30% personal contribution. That contribution doesn't come at all. वो अप्रूवल आने के बाद उस पे पसीने छूट जाते हैं. तो हमें अपनी वो स्ट्रेंथ देखनी चाहिए कि अगर हम 10 करोड़ की प्रोजेक्ट सैंक्शन करवा रहे हैं, 5 करोड़ की सैंक्शन MSME से सैंक्शन हो रही है, तो उसमें हमें जो 50 लाख 1 करोड़ डालना है वो है हमारे पास या नहीं है. अदरवाइज वी शुड ट्राई टू वर्क ऑन इट, नहीं तो आपके 6 महीने 1 साल के मेहनत बेकार हो जाते हैं. तो ये कुछ बिंदुएं हैं जो मैं आपको सजेस्ट करता हूं, प्लस फॉरवर्ड एंड बैकवर्ड लिंकेज. आपको सोर्सिंग का लिंकेज होनी चाहिए और मार्केट की लिंकेज होनी चाहिए, चाहे आपकी प्रोडक्ट हो या सर्विस हो. इन तीनों ये 2-3 चीजों पे फोकस करें. मुझे नहीं लगता कि अगर हम ऐसी सिचुएशन ये सारी चीजों पे शुरू में फोकस करें तो दालिया साहब को जरूरत पड़ेगी आगे जाके कि हमें कोर्ट जाना पड़े. तो ऐसी सिचुएशन हम आने ही न दें, और उसके लिए शुरू से हम इन मुद्दों पे फोकस रहें.
भाई देखो तुम्हारा काम जो है,
तो एक स्किल्ड मैन पावर, हमारी फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, या जो भी हमें 10%, 15%, 30% कंट्रीब्यूट करने हैं, वो सोर्सिंग हम कहाँ से करें. यूजुअली क्या होता है कि कोई बता देता है कि भाई ये MSME का प्रोजेक्ट है, इसमें अप्लाई कर दो, इसमें 80% ग्रांट है. वो 20% कहाँ से आएगा, क्योंकि 5 करोड़ 80% का 4 करोड़ आप कहाँ से 1 करोड़ कहाँ से लाएंगे. तो हमें इन सारी चीज़ों को सोचकर समझ के तभी आगे प्रोजेक्ट पे बढ़ना चाहिए. और MSME आपको कुछ फंड देगी, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ स्किल के पास भी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप के लिए फंड है, वहाँ पे स्किलिंग के लिए फंड है। और हमेशा मल्टी अप्रोच रखना चाहिए कि हम एक प्रोजेक्ट तो ले लिए, उस पे लैटरल फंडिंग बहुत होते हैं, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के भी होते हैं और अन्य CSR के भी आते हैं, तो हमें सारे एवेन्यूज को एक्सप्लोर करना चाहिए। कपिल साहब, ये आपने 5 मिनट का समय दिया था,
बिल्कुल सर।
मैं
और
कुछ इन मुद्दों पे आप
आज
लोगों का ध्यान आकृष्ट
बिल्कुल
करना चाह रहा था।
बिल्कुल, and I have got you have touched a very sensitive issues, because right now I have seen in more than 100 startups when we are connected right now with this startup mantra program, that they are focused to how to raise the funds, how to work onto that, but they will never understand how to make project sustainable in 1 or 2 or 3 years, because they are just looking for the funds and everything, but they doesn't look the market access, how to go in the market, and they doesn't approach to the integrated approach like CSR, MSME, different grants from state governments, universities, campuses, and from NSDC, MIT. There are so many schemes available. So that's why we have launched this meeting, and this program is Startup Mantra. And right now we have selected more than 150 startups, in which 50 startups is icons when those are selected in this area. And it is not from India; it's abroad also. So you have touched a very because we have missed this point. Everybody is when we are talking with the startups, they are always saying yes, we are doing this, we are doing this and that, but they are never say that who will take your service, who will take your product. This is the main issue. So I request to all startups, be a customer first, then start your startup. This is my
Very good.
be your or customer to your company, and if you feel that you will avail your services which is available in the market, why? Why? Because you never ask why in yourself. That's why the failure rate of startups in India is too high, not in India, abroad also. And I think you have touched a very good point. And be there, because I'm just requesting Mr. Sava Jiksonvich on the floor and his team. He's from TP.rs from Serbia. He is working on the smart cities in UK and Serbia, and he have submitted more than 4 to 5 cities. He has converted 4 to 5 cities into smart cities. So I will request Mr. Sava Jiksonvich, and the floor is yours. Sava Jiksonvich and Vladimir, please.
Thank you, Kapil sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please be there. Sava Jiksonvich and Mr. Vladimir. Vladimir? What? So I think he is joining very shortly. He is joining, but he will avail. So I will request Mr. Sachin from NSDL. Mr. Sachin?
Yes,
Yes, please. We have only 5 to 7 minutes for that.
okay, all right. So, thank you, Team Vyom, for inviting NSDL on this platform today. So, my name is Sachin Utreja, and so we will inform you how you can keep your securities in DMAT form, how you can generate the ISIN, and how it will be helpful in various corporate actions if you keep your securities in DMAT form. So that's what I am going to inform you today. So I have limited time, but quickly I would try to share one presentation, because while listening, if you also see something, you will get more knowledge. So I'll use both the modes of information. So just a second, I'll share my screen. All right. So if anyone can confirm my screen is visible.
Screen visible karo.
No, sir.
Yes, you are visible.
The screen is not visible.
Yes.
You are able to see the presentation?
Yeah, our technical team is provide. Now you are allowed. Please share your screen. Mr. Sachin, now you are allowed to share the screen. Please share the screen.
Okay, just a second. I will do that once again. So is it visible now?
It is not visible. Can
No,
you
not visible.
please start without a PPT, because I think there is some problem.
Yes, yes, yes. We can go without that also. So no issues. We can, just start with.
I will mail your PPT to the participants after the event, because
Right, right. You can share our details. I mean, my details and the presentation with the participants. If they require, they can, get in touch with me for any requirement post this session. Right. So first of all, would like to start with the introduction of NSDL. NSDL is a national depository formed in 1996, which helps companies for digitalization of securities. And currently, we hold around 300 lakh crores of demat value, that is the custody value, which is, if I say, which is 89% of the total custody value in the country, in India, and which is way above than the total, holdings there in the bank accounts. So NSDL particularly is a national depository. It will help you in ISIN creation. If we talk about the numbers, we have almost 24,000 unlisted companies who have joined NSDL, and we hold the major market share onto this space. Over 38,000 total issuers have joined NSDL in past, and we have more than 75,000 active ISINs which are there in the demat accounts, right? So NSDL will support you in terms of your demat of your securities. It will help you in corporate actions like bonus, right issues, buybacks, and electronic transfer of shares. And it definitely eliminates the risk which is associated with, physical share certificates and other issues which were earlier there before coming of this dematerialization of shares. So now if we talk about every unlisted company is required to go for dematerialization of shares, specifically if we talk about the public companies which are, it has been mandatory to go for demat of shares. And so I'll come to the point that how is the process? What is the process we offer for admission at NSDL? If you want your ISIN to be generated through NSDL, we have a completely online process. There is no paperwork which is required or you need to visit anywhere. So it is a kind of three-step process. So if I talk about three-step, there are, online process which need to be followed. First is your appointment of RNT agent. You need to appoint one RNT agent, which will help you in generation of ISIN, or you can directly file your application through our website, issuer joining at NSDL. I'll share the address of the website also. So one is you need to appoint RNT agent. Second, you need to come on the NSDL portal and fill the required details, and your ISIN will be generated. So we have a very fast process of ISIN generation. We generally take some hours, few hours, up to 24 hours if the documents are correct in generation of ISIN. So in order to facilitate issuers to admit their securities, we have an online portal. You can note it down: issuer.nsdl.com. Issuer.nsdl.com is our portal wherein you can just go register yourself, fill the application form and submit the required details. And maximum within 24 hours, if the details are correct, we'll issue IS sign and your shares or whatever the securities are will be in the DMAT form. So now we also have a list of documents which are required. For example, application which is required, net worth certificate is required, certified true copy of board resolution, confirmation letter in prescribed format from R&D agent. As I said that R&D agent appointment is necessary in this process, certified true copy of audited annual report, and so on. There are a list of around 7 to 8 documents which are required, which we can share, or I have one pager document also which states all the documents which are required. We can share post this session with you. So these are the documents required. And if we talk about, there is also some fees which is associated for dematerialization of shares, joining a depository. So joining fees is 15,000 plus taxes for unlisted companies and 20,000 plus taxes for listed companies. And so there is a slab in case of annual custody fee which is being charged. If you have a nominal value of security is up to 2.5 crores, then your charge will be 5,000 plus taxes. Minus in the month of June, we will charge the fees from July, I mean on the pro rata basis, which is up to 2.5 crores of value. It is 5,000 plus taxes annually. And also there is a security deposit of 10,000 rupees, which is double of your ACL annual fees. So definitely there are multiple benefits of joining a depository. Specifically, if you join NSDL, we have everything online. With technologies are, one of the pillar on which the company is standing today. So we provide a safe and convenient way to hold shares and other types of securities. You can transfer your shares. Your investors will come in. They will certainly ask for electronic transfer of DMAT. So you can use this facility to transfer the shares online. So there is no risk associated with physical certificates such as bad delivery, fake certificates. This type of risk is not there if you have shares in the DMAT form. And also your compliance is met, your reduction in administrative work because everything goes now online, and efficient method of keeping the securities for your company. So also I would request everyone to visit our portal for more details. That is issuer.nsdl.com is our portal, and post this session you'll get the information. I mean, my email ID and mobile number will be shared with you. Also the presentation will also be shared with you. If there is any requirement, any question which arise, you can get in touch with us. We'll help you, and we'll be happy to help you to get onboarded on our platform for DMAT of shares.
Thank you, sir. थैंक यू सचिन सर. वी हैव वेरी फ्यू क्वेश्चंस. आप हिंदी में उत्तर दे पाए तो. NSDL और स्टार्टअप, how what is the major benefit to be a part of NSDL of a startup? आप हिंदी में उत्तर दे पाए.
आपकी आवाज थोड़ी सी बीच में ब्रेक हो गई थी.
हाँ, अभी हमारे पास एक सवाल है, हिंदी में आप उत्तर दे पाए इसका, कि NSDL और NSDL का क्या बेनिफिट है स्टार्टअप के लिए, हिंदी में.
देखिए, मेरा ये कहना है कि अगर आप कोई भी कंपनी है, अगर आप उसको बड़ा बनाना चाहते हैं, हर स्टार्टअप का एक ही उद्देश्य है कि वो कितनी जल्दी बड़ी बन सकती है. बड़ी बनने के लिए जितना आपके पास इन्वेस्टर्स आएंगे और जितनी जल्दी आप इन्वेस्टर ला पाएंगे, वो एक इम्पोर्टेंट रहता है हर स्टार्टअप के लिए, और NSDL स्पेसिफिकली is a quicker way of keeping your shares in a demat form. तो अगर आपकी सिक्योरिटीज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक फॉर्म में है, आप किसी R&D एजेंट रजिस्ट्रार के साथ एसोसिएटेड हैं ऑलरेडी, so this will help you in getting more investors. What I feel in this way NSDL आपको हेल्प करता है. डॉक्यूमेंटेशन भी हमारा जो, देखिए ये हो सकता है कि आपकी ये पहली कंपनी है, मोस्टली सबकी ये पहली कंपनी है, आपको उतना ज्यादा नॉलेज नहीं है, तो हमारे पास स्पेसिफाइड एक डेडिकेटेड RMs की टीम है जो कि आपको गाइड करती है ऑन एवरी स्टेप. कोई भी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन से रिलेटेड आपको इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, प्रोसेस से रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, हम आपको पूरी तरीके से गाइड करते हैं कि स्टेप बाय स्टेप आपको कैसे चलना है, और सारे कंप्लायंसेस आपके मीट हो, कहीं पे कुछ रह ना जाए. डॉक्यूमेंटेशन हमारी टीम पूरी तरीके से चेक करती है, फिर ही उसको अप्रूव करती है. कहीं गलती से अगर आपसे कोई डॉक्यूमेंट गलत भी अपलोड हो गया या कुछ आपने गलत साइन कर दिया, हमारी टीम उसको 2 बार क्रॉस चेक करती है, फिर उसको अप्रूव करती है, सो दैट देयर इज, यहाँ पे कोई कंप्लायंस का कोई इशू ना क्रिएट हो जाए. उसके लिए हम पूरा सपोर्ट करते हैं.
Thank you, sir. Now I am approaching Mr. Sava Jiksonvich for the next of Vladimir to present their projects in front of incubation centers, representatives, startups, and various speakers with us from MSME and Government of India sectors and private players from IITians also. So please, Sava Jiksonvich, now the floor is yours. Your mic is off. Your voice is not coming. प्लीज योर माइक इज ऑफ. तो स्टार्टअप्स जिसका आपको इंतजार था कि हम लोग कितने स्मार्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स को आपके सामने लेके आएंगे, तो ये जो कंपनी है दिस इज फ्रॉम सर्बिया and UK, and they will represent their projects in front of you, and I will request the incubation centers and our speakers also to take this opportunity. Sava, please.
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yes, right now we are yes, right now we are audible. Please.
Okay,
Now
hi.
the floor
Okay,
is
hi.
yours.
My name is Sava Jovanovic. I'm Director of Technology Partnerships. Nice to meet you all. I'm going to try to be brief and effective. So what we did in Technology Partnership, we created the Web 3.0 Internet of Business Processes platform. So our platform can be used by anyone in any kind of business to automate and optimize their businesses. On that platform at the moment, we have very fast private blockchain, extremely fast, for that can be used for tokenization, for NFTs, for verifying any kind of digital documents. We have PCI DSS level 1 secure hosting of data, and that can be used for carbon file systems. We have PCI DSS also certified level 1. We have instant shopping, so that you can sell online and offline. This is omni-channel, first in the world in production omni-channel sales system that you can in 2 clicks choose and confirm, get a service or product that you want, integration of merchants for other stores. So, and you can expand on anything that you can imagine and you want. It's also extremely fast and extremely scalable and in production. So our plan is to start working with startups and to provide our platform to startups. And also we are going to start working to see how to, because for startup to be successful, you need 3 things. You need an idea, you need the technology, and you need financing for that. Without those 3 things, you won't be able to succeed. Idea is coming from a startup, we have our own idea. We can provide the technology for any kind of startup, and we have to start working on the financing. And this is something that ministry, Indian government, and the complete Indian community can help about that. So that's about very short presentation about what we do.
Yeah, very good. And right now we have few questions with IIT Patna and various. I will suggest that Mr. Sachin, can the NSDL as a B2G partner will help the startups to collaborate with Mr. Sava Jiksonvich for verification you can say your papers and verification of other documentation in your office?
Yes, that can be used as well for that.
Okay, so
it can be used for verification of the document, it can be used for verification of images, any kind of digital. So it can help.
Okay, so so Sava, please,
processes.
right now Sachin will ask. I have asked to Sachin if they need, because NSDL is one of the heading partner for verification the issue.
I actually document verification we.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
at
Yes.
NSDL we do document verification at our end only. I mean, if there is pre-check required by any company, are you talking about that?
Got it, sir. Got it. We required from that part that support from your side, because the startups who are looking to work with Mr. Sava Jiksonvich, they need a B2G project. And I have asked to the SBI and other banks also. So they are looking these services for them. And startups, please, this is a very big opportunity to you. इस जितने भी स्मार्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, सावा जिक्सॉनविच ने मोर देन 4 to 5 सिटीज को स्मार्ट किया इंटीग्रेटेड ऐप के थ्रू, एंड दे हैव वर्किंग सो मैनी मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट्स आल्सो, और इन्होंने अपने साथ एक इंटीग्रेटेड अप्रोच को लेके काम किया है यूके, सर्बिया एंड अदर कंट्रीज में भी. तो मैं जितने भी स्टार्टअप्स हैं, हिंदी में इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि जो लोग अभी दे आर वर्किंग ऑन द एग्री टेक, ऑल्सो दे आर वर्किंग ऑन द इंटीग्रेटेड स्मार्ट टेक्नोलॉजी in Serbia and UK. So they want to introduce these technologies in India, and they are looking the perfect matchmaking with the Indian startups, incubation centers, or you can say the incubation heads and IITs in India. So if you are looking to work with them, Vyom, and this is a Startup Mantra, who is working with the Ministry of Information Technology, is the best part for you. So those who are looking to join us with this smart technology or smart living projects with TP.RS, please submit your queries with the given email IDs we have provided to you, and we are selecting only few startups, those who are working to in this smart technology with MITI and
Hello.
This is MSH.
हेलो सर.
जी संजय बताइए.
हाँ जी सर, मैं ये बता रहा हूँ कि मेरा जो स्टार्टअप है वो अपने प्लेसमेंट एजेंसी.
अभी हम आपके क्वेश्चंस बाद में लेंगे, क्योंकि अभी 2 स्पीकर्स और बचे हैं, और जो आपकी क्वेरीज होंगी सेशन के बाद भी हम लोग सॉल्व करेंगे. तो क्वेश्चन आंसर हम बाद में लेंगे. प्लीज बी ऑन टाइम, बिकॉज टाइम इज वेरी शॉर्ट. So I will thanks to Sava, because right now there are so many incubation center heads and startups is there, and there is some big incubation centers are also involved, and they have queried so much. So I will forward their queries to you directly after this meeting, and they are looking like Mr. Sachin and other also for government side are verification of their papers, pre-verification and verification of other verification projects and other integrated smart projects. So I will share all the details to you, but I will especially thanks to Sava and Vladimir to attend this event, because our startup and incubation centers in India will get this opportunity, and I hope that they will use, and I am getting so many applications to involve in this project. So our mission is that the theme is that first we fund the project, then we go to the project. So we will share all the details to you. Thank you very much. Any other query, any other information you want to share, or we can go forward for the next speaker.
Mr. Sava wanted to say something.
Sorry, I don't hear you very well.
Yes, sir. You wanted to say something, sir.
I think that what I wanted to mention is that probably it would be very good to set up another meeting that we can demo all the technology that you can use or some other people, startups can use, because we really created a kind of a whole new paradigm for development on internet. Automation of business processes, connection of business processes, optimization, and applied it to unified commerce, instant shopping, aggregation of merchants. Also, it could be applied to NFC, physical NFC as physical NFT. So it's really a huge, complete platform that could, in my belief, I strongly believe, could help India to help anyone, even in the remotest villages, to go forward and digitalize them.
Great, sir. And I have received a few questions from IITs and a few startups. So I will share all the questions to you after this meeting, and we will done a separate session for Indian and Serbian connect for this smart technologies in next session. And I hope that we will come with some funded projects to you in India. Thank you very much, Sava and Vladimir and entire TP.rs team. Now I will request Mr. Manish Tulli, and he is a very known person for funding opportunities in India. So I will request to Mr. Manish Tulli. Now, Mr. Manish Tulli, floor is yours, please.
Manish, your microphone is on mute, and please introduce yourself also.
Okay. Hi everyone, I am Manish. I work with a law firm called Vash Associates. It's a 50-year-old law firm, and I have been in this profession for the last 22, 23 years. I am a corporate lawyer, and I'm a company secretary as well. And I've been advising all my clients for inbound and outbound investments. मैं बीच में हिंदी में भी बोलूँगा कि मैं इंडिया के और बाहर के क्लाइंट्स को भी एडवाइस करता हूँ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इंडिया में कैसे लेनी है और इंडिया के बाहर कैसे इन्वेस्टमेंट वहां से कैसे लेके आनी है. Now, I want to keep it very short and sweet. Can you hear me, Mr. Dalmia?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So a few days back, I was sitting with one of a very young chap, 22 years old, and he just had an idea and he's trying to implement it. He asked me a question. What questions any investor is going to ask me when I go to them and ask for funds? On a lighter note, I told him, go to your father when he is most irritated with you and ask for 5 lakh rupees. He will ask you about 10 questions. Why you require this money? Why should I pay you? What you will do with this money? Will you give it back to me? Where you are going to invest it? How I am going to benefit it out of giving this 5 lakh rupees to you? If you are able to answer all these questions to your father, mind it, the same questions every investor is going to ask you. Whenever a startup goes to any investor, my advice to all startups are, please be very clear why you require funds. Unless and until you can demonstrate that you have a deployment model for the funds which you are seeking, they will not develop an interest. One important thing all startups have to keep in mind when they either go for angel investors or go for a venture capitals or go for a debt funding, you should first and foremost assess your need for funding. Many startups fail because they underestimate or overestimate the requirements of their funds. And everyone should note, unless and until investor is confident to get his money back, no one is going to give you a single penny. Now, first and foremost is do your homework and do your assessment of your funding requirements, not only for year one. Make an assessment minimum for 5 years. And if you are really robust about your product or idea, do your assessment for next 10 years. 5 years, according to my benchmarking, would be the minimum where you would be ascertaining like what would be your cost of production, what would be your prototype development, how much you are going to put in R&D to improve your prototype when you really want to go into the manufacturing, and then operating your company, and then marketing as well. Once you are assessing the needs of funding on these parameters, go to the step 2. The step 2 would primarily be your investment readiness. Now, when we say investment readiness, that means you have to convince the investor that there is definitely going to be a revenue growth model in your idea. What kind of rate of return an investor will look into your project? You may hear a lot of jargons. You may hear a lot of terminologies which appears to be very cumbersome. कई jargon आते हैं इंग्लिश के अंदर. Burn rate क्या है आपका? ROI क्या है? ROE क्या है? Tag along देंगे, call put option देंगे. कई बारी, many times, the startups, the youngsters understand these terminologies, but they do not understand the legal ramifications of all these things. So when you come across all these jargons, don't get bogged down by these difficult terminologies. Please be ready with the questions and answers. You should know what these terms mean. You can just browse the internet and you will find 1,000 questions what investors would like to know. If you are able to answer that their investment is safe, they are going to get return on their investment, my break-even point would be XYZ. What is the uniqueness of your venture? Uniqueness of your venture, competitive advantage, vision and plan, coupled with talented team. These 4 parameters, they will sail you through any investment pitch. But if a startup is not clear that what kind of return I'm going to offer to the investor is not doing any favor to you. There are no free lunches, nothing, no free breakfast, lunches, dinner. Everything going to come with a cost. And everyone wants their money back with a return on investment. So you convince them, you have to showcase what is the uniqueness in your venture and whether your venture has a competitive advantage or not. If you are able to show to them that I am ahead of times and this is a market available to me, definitely you will inculcate or develop an interest of an investor. If it is just like off the shelf and the investor can easily find out, okay, there are XYZ, ABC ventures already in place, why should I go to a new one who is going to be a new entrant in the field? So you have to be careful about all these things. You have to be very well prepared for all these things. One very, very critical point. Investor will look for the talented team. You have an idea, you have a competitive advantage, you have a vision and a plan. But where is the talented team? If it is a single man idea, if I would be an investor, I would think the worst case scenario. If tomorrow Mr. X or Miss Y dies, who is the only talent in the startup, what will happen to my money? That you should pose this question to yourself. Or something wrong happens to that gentleman. Pose this question to yourself. Investors are really wary of these questions. So you have to be prepared beforehand, that you have to say it is not only me, it is a talented team along with you. It is an idea floated by you, team of talented people are going to implement for you. When you're an investor, you should definitely be ready with what we call a pitch deck. Pitch deck का सिंपल सा मतलब ये है कि आपके पास एक पूरी प्रेजेंटेशन होनी चाहिए. बड़ी प्रेजेंटेशन की कोई ज़रूरत नहीं होती है. आपके पास एक प्रेजेंटेशन जरूर होनी चाहिए जो आपका बिजनेस मॉडल को एक्सप्लेन करेगा, जो आपकी रोबस्ट टीम के बारे में गुणगान करेगा, आपकी स्टोरी के बारे में बताएगा कि आपकी स्टोरी क्या है, आपकी वॉर मूवमेंट क्या है आपके प्रोजेक्ट में, और आपका पैशन क्या है, और अल्टीमेटली आप नंबर टर्म्स में क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि आपका रेवेन्यू कितना हो सकता है. आपको ये 4 या 5 पैरामीटर्स, यू हैव टू बी वेरी थरो ऑन दैट. यू शुड नॉट बी स्टम्बलिंग बिफोर द इन्वेस्टर्स on any of these questions. Now, the question will come, how I am going to do the investor targeting. That exercise a startup has to do along with various other professionals. First, you determine what is your ticket size. Now, ticket size, when we say a ticket size, it simply means कितना पैसे का जरूरत है अभी. How much money you require at the moment. आपको वो पैसे की रिक्वायरमेंट आज पता होनी चाहिए, और आपको ये पता होना चाहिए once you bring that money into the company, that money should not be lying in the bank account in a fixed deposit. Rather, you have a plan for deployment of that money for next 6 months, clearly visible. अगर आप पैसा मार्केट से लेकर के इन्वेस्टर का पैसा लेके बैंक में रखेंगे और उसको बिजनेस में डिप्लॉय नहीं करेंगे, इन्वेस्टर विल लूज इंटरेस्ट इन यू. दैट इन्वेस्टर कैन आल्सो डू हिमसेल्फ. So you have to see how much money you want to withdraw from an investor and where you are going to deploy it, and what is the kind of an engagement you want an investor to have in your organization. For example, if you want to raise a very small quantum of money, it is better to go to your family and friends. They were more than willing to lend you, and they will not so many questions asked, not necessarily, but generally it helps with a small venture and small seed investment. Second important feature comes when you are looking for an angel investor. Now, these terminologies sometimes get a bit confusing. What is an angel investor, venture capitalist, and all that. So if we put it in a very crude term, angel investors are individual investors who put in their own money into your business. These are the first level. Second level, I will say, the first level would be your family and friends. The second level would be angel investors. The third level would be your venture capitalists. When you are already successful somewhat in your venture, then the venture capitalists come to you for an investment, and venture capitalists are the people who uses others' money to be deployed in your business. So they are also responsible to their investors. So they are very choosy. They do a cherry picking of the startups where they want to invest and where they don't want to invest. Now, somebody may question what advantage I will get to have a venture capital or a good known angel fund in my portfolio. Look, all these people are seasoned player in their market. It is going to add value to your portfolio in the open market. For example, I'm not patronizing any venture capital right now or angel fund right now. For example, let's take a name of, say, Tiger Fund, or talk about Sequoia Capital. If these funds have already invested in your company, that will give you a leverage that, okay, if these big funds have invested, they must have seen the strength. The people will come to you with more investments. So all these angel investors, known venture capitalists, they are really add value to you. Now, when you invite angel investors or venture capitalists, you can also leverage their skill set, because you are a startup. You may have an idea. You know how to implement it. Engineers know, okay, I am developing this machinery. Somebody in the beginning said they are making smart sorting machine in the agriculture. I really like the idea. He know the technology. He know how to deploy the technology. He know the usefulness. But where to sell this product? Who will buy this? How you will convince it? Convince the general public. Here you can really use the benefit of your angel investor and venture capitalist. They know they have contacts and they really help you out because they want their investment to be secure and they want a good return on your investment. Now, when we talk about funding, typically there are 3 or 4 routes of funding. One is equity funding, one is debt funding, one is government grant, and the other one we can say money borrowed from your family and relatives. I will come to the equity part first. Now, my advice to the startup players here, I know you are cash starved. पैसे नहीं होते हैं. Understandable. मगर my advice to you is just do not download any template of any agreement available on the web and sign. Just try to read that or consult your friends and relatives who have some expertise in this field. Many startups I have seen, they have just downloaded some template from the internet and used it for some agreements. Don't do that. Now, coming to the equity funding part, startup must know when you are going to give equity, that means you are diluting your ownership in the company. Now, startups often struggle with a question: how much money I will take from the market against X percentage of the equity? कितना परसेंट मेरे को अपनी ओनरशिप का देना पड़ेगा इस पैसे के लिए? मैं कितना देना चाहता हूं? जो इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है, he always want that he should get a good amount of shareholding in the company with a lesser sum of money. You have to do your number crunching. You have to sit with your friends in the finance team to understand what is the worth of your project and where you see yourself down the line 5 years, 10 years. What are your projections? What is your market? Do you have an order book with you? Do you have letter of intents with you? If you have an order book, if you have letter of intent with you, the value is going to be on a higher side. You would be getting good money with a lesser percentage of dilution. Now, when we talk about equity, you may come up with very difficult, I will not say difficult, it may not be difficult for professionals to understand, maybe difficult for college students or maybe from a very startup coming from the humble background. आपके पास एक term sheet आएगा. Investors will give you a term sheet. I have seen many startups without realizing what they are signing. They sign on the dotted line because the investors, they generally tell them this is our standard template, nothing doing. So my idea of this is never ever sign on the dotted line unless you have reread and reread every line, full stop, comma of that term sheet. That is going to be either something which will make you or break you. Mr. Dalmia, you want to say something?
Yeah, Paytm is one of such examples. It is a big example. So yeah. Paytm has suffered because they used to sign everything, whatever came in their way.
Paytm has become too big that I know. I can, in the later part of my presentation, I will tell you one quick example of one of the clients we are handling, and it is a real case before me. So, must read a document. If you do not understand the terminology, just Google it. In the term sheet, you may find a terminology called material adverse effect. You do not know what is a material adverse effect. You do not understand what is anti-dilution. So, you have to understand what are the jargons used in the term sheet. Understand the ramifications. आपको Google हर आंसर देगा. अगर आपको डाउट है, do not fear asking an investor कि बॉस ये क्या है. But generally जाना नहीं चाहिए because then the investor will know this person is a novice. So it is better to take advice from the professionals. कि boss, ये मेरे को sign करने का है. Should I sign it or should I negotiate? You should be fully and 100% aware what you are signing off. I had a case where a person agreed on a term sheet without seeking any legal consultancy or any professional help. These are husband and wife, very brilliant technocrats. They are experts in their market field. They signed the term sheet believing in the bona fide of the opposite side. I'm not saying you don't believe in their bona fide, but always remember the other person is going to protect their interest 100%. So you should read and try to protect your interest in that. In that term sheet, they have given so many rights to the investor, including the right even to appoint any person above manager level. That investor is sitting abroad, and every senior recruitment is then dependent upon him. Luckily, they came to us and we reopened the term sheet. It was a lot of hue and cry with the investor, but eventually we were able to have our way. But this will not always happen. So you should be very conscious what you are signing. After the term sheet, the due diligence work starts. Now, what is the due diligence? Due diligence लगता है एक बहुत बड़ा टर्म है, कुछ नहीं है. आप लड़की वाले जब लड़का देखने भी जाते हैं तो लड़की की भी इंक्वायरी होती है, लड़के की भी इंक्वायरी होती है. Similarly, when you go to buy a house, you check it out whether the house, the land is owned by this person who is selling it, is it genuine है कि नहीं है. So due diligence primarily involves three aspects. One is your legal compliances, secondly your business compliances or your business model, and then is a financial one. So whenever you are targeting an investor, please be sure that you are fully legally compliant, because when you get the transaction document, which is going to be a shareholders agreement, which will govern your relationship with the investor, they are going to take all your indemnities, that if something goes wrong, you would be liable for it. If you have given any statement and this statement is untrue, you are liable for it. So be sure what kind of warranties and indemnities you are giving to the investor. Read your share purchase agreement, shareholders agreement thoroughly. Understand it completely. And if somebody tells you from the opposite side, from the investors' councils or investor themselves, if this is standard, please note, nothing is standard. Who makes standards? We all make standards. Nothing is standard. If it is not suiting you, please negotiate it and negotiate it hard. It is your hard-earned business, your idea. Don't let this idea go in vain. Then, when you have a shareholders agreement in place, there are ancillary documents that we can go on and on that. So that's not a point here. This is equity. Now coming to the debt. The debt is a loan. Now why a person will give you a loan? Person will only give you a loan if you have something to securitize to them. Family may give you a loan without any security, but not everyone. So debt is basically a pure loan into your books. Then comes your government funding. Government funding, my fellow colleagues from MSME have already told you what kind of grants and what kind of government facilities are already available. So you can, that funds sit without any liability. But when you talk about the debt, obviously debt comes with a repayment schedule along with a coupon. What we mean with the coupon is the interest element in it. You have to pay interest on the loan. Then you make grants overseas as well. So when you, I want to put a word of caution here. Whenever there is an overseas investment coming into any startup or any Indian entity, that entity becomes subject to Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, which we call it Exchange Control Regulations. And RBI is a regulator for that. You have to be very much thorough that whenever you are taking an investment from abroad, what compliances you have to do. A lot of startups commit a lot of mistakes in compliances, and you end up paying heavy penalties to that. स्टार्टअप अपनी जेब से पेनल्टीज का पैसा अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता, और जब हम रेगुलेटर के पास जाते हैं तो वहां पे हमारे पास कोई विंडो अवेलेबल नहीं होती है कि हम वहां पे उनको क्या कह सकें कि हम तो स्टार्टअप है, हम इतना पेनल्टी नहीं दे सकते, बट वहां पे आपकी सुनवाई नहीं होगी। गवर्नमेंट जो आप पे पेनल्टी लगाएगी वो लगाएगी। सो बी कॉशियस व्हेनेवर यू आर गेटिंग डेट or funds from abroad as an equity investment. You should be clear what kind of compliances you have to do. Before I conclude, one very important aspect which I want to put here for all the startups is a concept of something called round tripping. बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप इस चीज में फंस रहे हैं और उनकी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स जो आई हुई हैं कंपनीज में, और या जो उनकी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इंडिया से बाहर चली गई हुई हैं, वो एक प्रॉब्लम में आ गई हैं। रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया इज वेरी वेरी पर्टिकुलर अबाउट इट। नाउ व्हाट इज अ राउंड ट्रिपिंग? राउंड ट्रिपिंग अगर हम सिंपल टर्म्स में समझे, इंडिया से पैसा बाहर गया और घूम के पैसा वापस इंडिया में आया, ये राउंड ट्रिपिंग होती है। ये सारे केसेस में अलाउड नहीं है। आई विल गिव यू अ वेरी स्मॉल एग्जांपल सो एवरीवन कैन अंडरस्टैंड। सपोज देयर इज एन इंडिविजुअल रेजिडेंट इंडियन, उन्होंने अपना एक स्टार्टअप बनाया इंडिया में, अच्छा चल गया, इन्वेस्टमेंट आ गई। आफ्टर सम टाइम व्हाट विल हैपन, lot of people from abroad, if they start showing interest in your venture, they will say India is a difficult territory and we don't want to park our funds in India, so you establish a company outside India and we will give investment in that company, and then that company will give investment back to India. Okay, everything is okay. You have one company in India, you establish another company abroad, no issues. Then they will say, look, your startup in India has a value, your foreign company doesn't have a value. Why don't you make your Indian company as a subsidiary of the foreign company? Now what will happen? A resident individual have a company, for example, say in US, and then the US has a company back in India. On paper, it looks everything is fine. You might not have done anything wrong, but government of India has not allowed these kind of structures. A lot of structures are under scrutiny of RBI as of now. I am personally handling 4 or 5 cases, and I'm very dejected to know in one of the case, RBI has even ordered the Indian entrepreneur to wind up his entire investment, which is in the foreign entity. He is losing out materially by using this a flip structure. We call it a flip structure. We call it an externalization of your company. So whenever you are receiving any foreign funds, either in equity or debt, please be very cautious of foreign exchange compliances, because these are very cumbersome. You don't know, and take advice from the professionals who know this work. Do not blindly follow the lead what the investor is telling you to do it. So with this, I think I will close my part of the discussion.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Before I conclude, I just pulled out one of the statements from one of the book which I really like. It is a book, Go Giver, by Bob Burg and David Martin. There is a one very short statement they have made. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. You apply this principle, startups should apply this principle when they go out for fundraising. So when you are able to convince other people that what value you are going to give it to them in return, what you are taking, you would be a successful venturer, you would be a successful fundraiser. You can write, you can send across, I think my email IDs and details have already shared. So you can send me your questions and we can definitely help you to answer those.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And I hope that the startups will gain so much because Mr. Manish Tulli has given a very good introduction about how a company will lose. And I think because startups are not aware about the legal things and they doesn't want to hear the legal things because he think it's a boring thing and they want only the guidance that is something like crispy and that is something like think we will provide you this, we will offer to this, we will offer to this money, we will offer to that money. So this is the basic problem, and the problem is that the incubation centers and the startup ecosystem in India right now has not taken any mentors available in their centers, in their ecosystem, who can guide the startups because a startup is a baby right now and that they are looking like a firm holder or it's a corporate and all the legal issues will be like as a corporate. So I think the mentors should be available for all, and the mentors is labor like you who have deep knowledge about all these regulatories because the legal advisories available in the incubation centers are not as good. So the startups are paying a very much penalty to the government of India and government of abroad also. So it's a very good answers you have provided to our startups. But I'm saying that the no startups is looking to hear very you can say seriously about these questions about these queries because there's it's a nothing. Yeah, we have to because they have only a NASA that he has to work only their idea and that's why the failure rate is too high.
I will tell you a very small thing here. सिंगापुर में था, वहां पे आप अगर एक नोट देंगे, कोई सिंगापुर में गए हो या कभी जाए तो नोट करिएगा, वहाँ सारे जितने पेड़ होते हैं ना, सारे सीधे होते हैं. हमारे घर के पास कई पेड़ होते हैं आड़े तिरछे, कोई टेढ़ा टेढ़ा जा रहा होता. तो मैंने वहां से पूछा था किसी से, मैंने कहा यार करते क्या हो, ये सारे सीधे रहते हैं. ये सेट जब इसका ये थोड़ा सा तना मोटा होता है तो उसमें स्ट्रिंग्स लगा दिए जाते हैं कि ये इधर उधर न जाए, ये सीधा ऊपर जाए. तो जब हम बच्चे की स्टेज पे होते हैं ना, तो बच्चे को जिस तरीके से आप चलाना सिखाएंगे ना या पेड़ को ग्रो करवाएंगे, वो उसी तरीके से बढ़ेगा और सुंदर लगेगा. आई नो कई लोगों को लगता है कि कॉस्ट ज्यादा है लॉयर्स एक्सपेंसिव होते हैं. नॉट नेसेसरली. मैं अभी एक स्टार्टअप को एडवाइस कर रहा हूँ, उसने मेरे को आते कहा सर मेरे पास पैसे नहीं है. मेरे को नहीं चाहिए यार पैसे तेरे, अभी बाद में कर लेंगे जब तू कर लेगा. सो
थैंक यू सो मच सर.
या
थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू.
अपने बच्चे को, आपका बच्चा है, बच्चे को अच्छी तरह से पालिए, उसको पालन पोषण अच्छा करिए, आपकी लाइफ लाइन है ये.
Thank you, sir, and we will meet you after this meeting for the integrated incubation center because I want to that all the startups will get an integrated support with a single window and with a single click. We are working on that. That's why we have created this integrated virtual incubation center because MIT is giving different schemes, MSME is giving different scheme, DPIIT has giving different schemes. So there are so many schemes, state governments have different schemes. So we want that all the schemes should be integrated in a single window and the single point, and we will try to work on that, and I will meet you and Dr. Dalmia also.
Yes. My privilege, and if any of the startup participants have any query or question, please write it to me. I will definitely try to answer all of them.
Thank you, sir. And right now I will ask Mr. Dalmia, Vijay Dalmia, sir, that we have a very short of time, but I will request you to conclude within 2 or 3 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, and it's up to you. Thank you, sir. Now floor is yours.
Okay, no issues. Hello, friends. First of all, whenever you are entering into any venture, you have to understand what to do and what not to do. In these ventures, the friendships and the friendliness are not going to work. You have to be very thorough about the documentation of your not only relationship with your colleagues who will be part of the venture, but with others as well. So in place of telling you what are the laws which are applicable in case of a startup, I would like to share with you certain strategies which you should follow when dealing with someone while running your venture and starting your startup. The first of all, the basic thing is believe in writing. Believe in writing even with your partners. Believe in writing with whomsoever you are dealing. Any oral representation, oral commitment, or oral agreement will be very difficult to stand on its legs in the court of law. Nobody is going to trust you. The people may tend to deny their commitments, their agreements. So that is the first thing, believe in writing. The second thing which I would like to tell you is be specific and avoid ambiguity. Means that you should be very specific in your terms and conditions, and you should not put anything which is ambiguous in nature or which may be left for interpretation. Try to capture the essence of your understanding, the gist of your understanding with your partners, colleagues, and other people. Like Mr. Manish has said, you need to enter into proper agreements. So there is nothing that should be left to imagination. And this is, I am telling you from my experience of 36 years in this profession. Most of the time, most of the people lose cases merely because they only went on the basis of trust. And this trust is not if not put into a paper, is not a good thing. So this is what I would like to say. The next thing is, before starting your relationship, prefer to enter into a non-disclosure agreement, confidentiality agreement, because most of the startups, what they are doing, they are coming up with new ideas, new technologies, and various other new aspects relating to their proposed business. So if you keep on disclosing all these things, you may be actually giving your idea, giving your baby to someone else. So if you think that there is something new in your idea, enter into a non-disclosure agreement or confidentiality agreement. The next thing is that enter into elaborate contract. Means a detailed contract. Don't shy away from detailed contracts. The basic problem is at times we are told that there should not be any duplication in the agreement, or there should not be any repetition in the agreement. What I suggest to my clients is, even at the cost of duplicacy, you should make your intent clear in the agreement. That should be your way of entering into the agreements. If you are not able to understand any particular word or phrase, give meaning to that particular word or phrase in the agreement itself. So go for a detailed agreement. Don't shy away. Don't feel shy about this thing. The next thing which I would like to tell you is, envisage situations and make provisions for termination, revocation of the contracts. Most of the people, in the hurry to take money or enter into agreement or not leave the opportunity or miss the opportunity, what they do, they forget about the termination or revocation of the agreement. So when you are dealing, let us take an example. When you are dealing with your partners, who will be part of your entire team, who will be your colleagues, and who will be in thick and thin, what you should do, you should put your relationship on the paper. Who is going to share what? Who is going to own what? These all are very necessary aspects. Once your venture is successful, the problems may crop up. Once your venture is doomed, the problems may crop up. Who is going to bear the cost of winding up? Who, in case of success, how are you going to divide the gains made through your venture? If you succeed, then who is going to be the head of affairs of your venture? So all these things have to be captured. You should not shy away from capturing all these things. The next thing is, how are you going to resolve your disputes? There is always a possibility that disputes may crop up even among partners and with your funders or investors. So in that particular case, you should have a clear-cut vision that where would you like to have these proceedings going on. There, I am just rushing up with the things, just giving you a brief idea so that you understand the nuances of all these things and why these are necessary. So dispute resolution, arbitration, mediation, conciliation, these are essential aspects. Oh, then the next thing is that where you would like to have your all disputes resolved. Means I am sitting in Delhi, you may be in Chennai or Kolkata or Mumbai. What should be the jurisdiction of dispute resolution? You are a small fish, you are a small party, you may not be able to afford the cost of coming to Delhi to fight me out. So in that particular case, you have to be very careful about this jurisdiction. So with these kind of suggestions, what I am trying to tell you is that you have to be very careful, and the next most important thing is intellectual property. Your trademark, your patent, your design, your copyright. You should definitely deal with all these aspects. You should take care of all these aspects, and you must have a policy that who is going to own these trademarks in case of success. How the benefits of these patents will go to the parties. How you are going to license. How you are going to acquire the copyright. These are not very difficult things. You can easily understand, but definitely you need to know someone, or you need to contact someone who knows this subject. So that is very, very important. And for the time being, because of the paucity of time, I would like to close my my talk. Yes, Manish, your microphone.
Yeah, Mr. Dalmia has rightly pointed out for everyone, put everything in writing. एक चीज मैं यहाँ सारे स्टार्टअप्स के जो प्लेयर्स बैठे हैं, मैं हिंदी में जान के बोल रहा हूँ कि किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन ना रहे. अगर किसी को हिंदी में ना समझ में आए, उसके बाद मैं इंग्लिश में भी बोल दूंगा. एक चीज जान के चलिए, आपको जो एग्रीमेंट्स करने होते हैं ना, जब इन्वेस्टर आता है बाहर से, तभी नहीं करना होता. मान लीजिए दो दोस्त मिलकर के भी कोई स्टार्टअप चला रहे हैं ना, एक दूसरे को इन्वेस्टर मान के चलिएगा और एग्रीमेंट तब भी कीजिएगा, क्योंकि आपको नहीं पता आज सब कुछ अच्छा चल रहा है, कल आपकी कब लड़ाई हो जाए, उसको कैसे सॉर्ट आउट करेंगे, वो आप आज सोच लीजिए. आज सोच लेंगे, कड़वाहट कम रहेगी, बाद में लड़ेंगे ज्यादा आएगी. हम कई बारी कहते हैं, हमने बहुत सारे केसेस देखे हैं कि चाचा, मामा, ताऊ, रिलेटिव्स ने मिलकर के एक स्टार्टअप बना लिया और 3 साल के बाद वो स्टार्टअप सक्सेसफुल हो गया, तो लड़ाई कर रहे हैं कि किसका कितना शेयर था, किसका क्या राइट था, कौन एमडी बनेगा, कौन चेयरमैन बनेगा. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से हियर फॉर एवरीवन इज, don't wait for the agreements to be implemented or drafted when an investor is coming into your company. If you are two friends or two relatives who are joining hands to formulate an idea, must have an agreement at that stage itself, explaining everything from marriage to divorce. Yeah, Mr.
There
Great,
is
sir.
there is
Great,
one
sir.
more-
Great, sir. Very great, sir.
There is one more thing which I would like to say, that is हिसाब बाप बेटे का, जो अपने यहाँ पे कहावत चलती है. So go by that thing. Keep your accounting proper, account for each and everything. Don't go for cash transactions. Don't fall in a trap of easy money or easy lure. Because if you believe in your startup, then definitely there is all possibilities that you will also get this success. So think of this success and think of handling these situations which will arise once you get this success. You have to take care of your baby, and baby can only be taken care of only if you have done proper documentation, you have taken care of each and everything. Here I would like to say one thing, that I have given, Mr. Manish has given his contact details in the chat box. I have also given my contact details and other details in the chat box. Please feel free to contact us, and wherever possible, we would like to definitely help you out, bail you out from various situations. And please don't go to Google Baba for your legal advice. Just have an idea from Google Baba, and thereafter go to a proper professional. If you can't pay, just tell I can't pay. If you want to help, help. If you don't want to help, don't help. Be upfront. Tell upfront that what is your capacity of paying, and then take their help. एक नहीं मिलेगा, दूसरा मिलेगा, दूसरा नहीं मिलेगा, तीसरा मिलेगा, but you will definitely find competent people to help you in the legal matters, in financial matters, and various other matters. Don't worry about those things. You have to just search for right kind of people and believe in your project. Go ahead, and this is what I would like to say. Believe in writing, detailing, everything. That's all.
And एक चीज स्टार्टअप्स को याद रखनी चाहिए. अभी एक स्टार्टअप मेरे पास आया, उस लड़के ने 1 लाख रुपया लगा करके अपने आइडिया को इम्प्लीमेंट किया. 2 साल के अंदर, 1-1.5 साल के अंदर उसने 1 लाख रुपए से 35-40 लाख रुपए कमा लिए. अब उन जनाब ने क्या किया, वो 35-40 लाख रुपए जब कंपनी में आ गए, वो निकाल लिए. When you start taking out money from your startups, this will portray you in a very bad form in front of an investor. कि आपको इतनी जल्दी है कि पैसा निकालने की और पैसा बनाने की. You do not want your skin in the business. So don't start withdrawing the money which is your startup is earning. Use that money to build up a startup to a larger level. So पैसे को निकालने की इतनी जल्दी नहीं करनी चाहिए. इन्वेस्टर्स को समझ में आती है कि आप सिर्फ पैसे के लिए चल रहे हैं. स्टार्टअप आप चले ना चले कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So don't do it.
थैंक यू सर. मैं हिंदी में बोलूँगा लास्ट में, और आई विल थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ यू. मैं सबको एक चीज़ सजेस्ट करना चाहूँगा. ये मेरा 3rd और 4th वेबिनार था जिसको हमने किया माइटी के साथ, हमने लॉन्च किया था, और शायद 2 से 2.5 घंटा हम लोग टिक पाए स्टार्टअप्स के साथ. मैंने पहली बार देखा है, क्योंकि इट्स अ वेरी गुड इनिशिएटिव बाय ऑल ऑफ यू एंड द बेस्ट स्पीकर. मैं केवल लास्ट एक चीज़ बोलना चाहूँगा जो मैंने अपनी लाइफ में फेस किया है, कि जब आप किसी इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर, किसी एग्रीगेटर, किसी एक्सीलेटर प्रोग्राम में ज्वाइन करते हैं, तो 2 चीज़ बहुत ध्यान से देखिएगा. नंबर 1, लीगल एडवाइजरी बॉडी, जो हम कभी नहीं देखते हैं, उसे हम सबसे लास्ट में जाते हैं देखने, क्योंकि उससे बोरिंग चीज़ लगती है. हमको लगता है मिल क्या रहा है, आ क्या रहा है, जा क्या रहा है. बाकी इन चीज़ों से अलग मैं कहता हूँ कि लीगल एडवाइजरी बॉडी जरूर देखिए, क्योंकि मैंने खुद बहुत पेनल्टीज पे की हैं केवल लीगल एडवाइस प्रॉपर ना होने की वजह से. मोर देन लैक्स मैंने पे की हैं गवर्नमेंट को पेनल्टीज. केवल किस लिए? इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर के पास एक अच्छा लीगल एडवाइजर नहीं होता है. दैट्स व्हाई आई हैव इंटीग्रेट ऑल द सर्विसेज इन अ सिंगल बॉडी, इन अ सिंगल विंडो, कि आने वाले स्टार्टअप को ये परेशानी ना हो, क्योंकि मैं नहीं चाहता वो खुद फेल होकर सीखे. जो चीज़ हमने फेल होकर सीखी है, या जो चीज़ दूसरे फेलियरिटी से सीखी है हमने, वो जो हमारे साथ स्टार्टअप जुड़ा है उसको ना फेस हो। तो हमने जो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ वर्चुअल इंक्यूबेशन स्टार्ट किया है, उन सब के लिए लीगल एडवाइस के लिए आई विल सजेस्ट कि इतनी अच्छा पैनल आई हैव seen so many lawyers who are working for the startup community, but जितना लीगल इश्यूज के अंदर बारीकी से आपने बताया बहुत अच्छा है। और मैं लास्ट में केवल 2 लाइन बोलूंगा स्टार्टअप के लिए। स्टार्टअप का मतलब पैसा कमाना बिल्कुल होना चाहिए, स्टार्टअप का मतलब सब कुछ होना चाहिए, पर मेरे हिसाब से स्टार्टअप को जारी कैसे रखा जाए 2 या 3 साल के लिए, वो बहुत जरूरी है। क्योंकि मैंने देखा है स्टार्टअप इंक्यूबेट भी होते हैं, चलते भी हैं, और 1 या 2 साल के अंदर वो बाइंड अप भी हो जाते हैं। तो मेरा अपना मानना है स्टार्टअप शुरू कीजिए, स्टार्टअप जारी रखिए। और ये जो हमने वर्चुअल इंक्यूबेशन प्रोग्राम मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ स्टार्टअप मंत्रा स्टार्ट किया है, जिन लोगों ने अभी वेबिनार ज्वाइन किया लेकिन स्टार्टअप मंत्रा प्रोग्राम में ज्वाइन नहीं किया है, दे हैव टू गो टू द माइटी स्टार्टअप हब पोर्टल। वहाँ हमारा नंबर 1 पे स्टार्टअप मंत्रा प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, आप जाइए। वहाँ से फायदा क्या मिलेगा, अभी तक आपने शायद वेबिनार बहुत ज्वाइन की होंगी लेकिन आपको कोई प्रोजेक्ट नहीं मिला होगा, क्योंकि आपको सिर्फ सीख दी जाती है। ये एक ऐसी मंत्रा प्रोग्राम है जहां से मंत्रा मीन्स आपको मंत्र दिए जा रहे हैं। मंत्र के लिए क्या चाहिए, आइडिया भी हम दे रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके पास नहीं है, या जिनके पास अभी टीम ही नहीं है, हाउ दे कैन, उसको टीम उतारेगी कैसे टेक्नोलॉजी को। इट विल टेक 5 to 6 ईयर्स, तब तक मार्केट में बहुत सारी टेक्नोलॉजी आ जाएंगी, आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी पीछे चली जाएगी। तो गो फॉर जो अवेलेबल टेक्नोलॉजी हमने इंडिया और अब्रॉड में अवेलेबल है वो आपके लिए अवेलेबल कराई है। लीगल बॉडीज हमने आपके लिए अवेलेबल कराई हैं। हमने एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम लॉन्च किया है, और सबसे बड़ी हमारी खुशकिस्मती है कि डॉक्टर के गोयल हमारे साथ हैं, एंड ही हैज वर्क फॉर स्टार्टअप्स एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप स्किल डेवलपमेंट इन MSME फॉर लास्ट 35 years. It's a very huge experience in a government sector, and he is from IIT Kharagpur pass out, and he has doctorate in entrepreneurship and skill development. So I will thank all the panelists, Mr. Jaykant Singh, जिनका आपने सिर्फ केवल 2 या 3 मिनट के लिए सुना होगा स्पीच, बट बहुत अच्छा स्पीच था कि आपको फंड्स कहाँ से अवेलेबल हो सकते हैं। आपको बिलीव नहीं होगा कि कोरोना के अंदर हमने जब स्टार्ट किया था तो जयकांत जी NSDC के प्रोजेक्ट हेड थे, ही इज द डायरेक्टर इन द NSDC। इसके बाद इन्होंने NSDC से निकल के गवर्नमेंट वर्ल्ड स्किल डेवलपमेंट सेंटर को चुना, और आज बहुत सारी IITs के एडवाइजर हैं। IIT पटना, IIT, बहुत सारी IITs के NIITs के वो एडवाइजर हैं, वर्ल्ड स्किल कम्युनिटी सेंटर के एडवाइजर हैं। आई विल सजेस्ट वन थिंग, जहां भी आप इंक्यूबेशन लें, जहां भी आप चीजें लें, जैसे गोयल साहब ने बताया .gov नहीं है, वो आपसे 1000 रुपए ले लेगी। मैंने दिया था पहली बार में, शायद गोयल साहब, क्योंकि मुझे नहीं पता था। तो इसी तरीके से आप जो चीज हमने फेल होके सीखी है वो चीज आप ना करें। जहां हमने ठोकरें खाई हैं वहां आप ना खाएं, या जहां कहीं और किसी फेलियर स्टार्टअप ने खाई है वहां और ना खाएं। लेकिन लास्ट मूवमेंट में आपको बताता हूँ, आपको सस्टेन करना है, आपको जारी रखना है। यदि आपका स्टार्टअप 3 साल जारी रख जाता है, 4 साल जारी रख जाता है अपने स्टार्टअप को, आपने उसी सक्सेस स्टोरीज के साथ, तो बिलीव मी, आपको सक्सेसफुल एंटरप्रेन्योर होने से कोई नहीं रोक सकता। तो आप ज्वाइन कीजिए। जिन्होंने अभी स्टार्टअप मंत्रा टीम में नहीं ज्वाइन किया है, दे कैन गो फॉर द MSH पोर्टल, मिनिस्ट्री के पोर्टल पे जाइए, वहाँ से वर्चुअल इंक्यूबेशन का फॉर्म अवेलेबल होगा, आप फिल कीजिए एंड यू विल गेट ऑल द सपोर्ट। मुझे खुशी होती है कि डालमिया सर अवेलेबल हैं, मिस्टर मनीष तुली अवेलेबल है हमारे साथ, जयकांत सर, डॉक्टर के गोयल सर की तो एक्सपर्टीज हम लोग दे ही रहे हैं, और साथ में मिस्टर जयकांत जी का होने का मतलब है कि जो आपको एक गैप फिल नहीं हो रहा था वो हो जाएगा। उसके साथ जो कॉर्पोरेट प्लेयर्स हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं इंडिया एंड अब्रॉड, इट्स अ वेरी बिग अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर द स्टार्टअप्स। आपको पकी पकाई खिचड़ी मिल रही है, हिंदी में बोलूँ तो सीधे आप जाइए। B2G हम आपको प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं, B2B प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं, B2C प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं। तो इट्स माई ऑन ओपिनियन कि स्टार्टअप मीन्स कि आप जो आया सोच के शुरू मत कर दीजिए। सोचिए कि आपके पास टीम है, कैपेबिलिटी है, कितना पैसा है, मार्केट में कहाँ जाएंगे, क्या आपका प्रोडक्ट आप खरीद पा रहे हैं या नहीं। यदि नहीं खरीद पा रहे हैं तो इट्स मीन कि ठीक है, मैं नहीं मना करता कि आप मत कीजिए, कीजिए यदि आपको जुनून है, और यदि आपको जुनून है तो फिर कीजिए, और गोयल साहब के साथ कीजिए। शायद गोयल साहब की सबसे पसंदीदा स्कीम जो मुझे पसंद आती है PMEGP, उसके साथ आपको आइडिएशन फेज से पहले ही एक सब्सिडाइज लोन आपको दे दिया जाता है, बट वो सब्सिडी के चक्कर में नहीं पड़ना है। इसीलिए हमने क्या किया, बैंकर्स को लेके आए, बैंक से यदि अप्रूव होगा तभी हम PMEGP में अप्लाई कराते हैं आपका, क्योंकि मुझे पता है MSME इज ए वेरी गुड बॉडी, KVIC इज ए वेरी गुड बॉडी। अधिकतर जो जैसे अभी प्रतिमा और लोगों के जो क्वेश्चन थे, सर बैंक से लोन पास नहीं होता, तो हमने इसको रिवर्स कंडीशन में कर दिया है। बैंक के जो हायर अथॉरिटीज हैं उनको हमने अपने साथ जोड़ा है। इफ दे विल order to the AGM level of their partners in different parts of India, तो यदि वहाँ से पास होता है तो your sanction will be done। तो इन्हीं I will say to the thanks to all panelists and all attendees who have attended and listened first time more than 2.5 hours webinar. So it's a very long webinar I have seen in फॉर स्टार्टअप्स, बिकॉज स्टार्टअप को ना बहुत जल्दी जल्दी चीजें चाहिए होती हैं। थोड़ा बच्चा भी होता है तो उसको लगता है यार कुछ नाच गाना हो गया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो यार बैठे हैं कुछ लीगल वीगल सुना है, कुछ मिला तो है नहीं, आज एक वेबिनार करके चल दिए। तो वी विल प्रोवाइड एंड वी विल ट्राई कि आपकी चीजें प्रैक्टिकल हो, आपके हाथ में कुछ चीजें हो। गो फॉर दिस corporate connect with India and abroad, and we are trying to connect with IIT Bhilai, IIT Patna right now। we are they are our partners, और उनके साथ मिलके हम जो अब्रॉड पार्टनर्स हैं, यहाँ के पार्टनर्स हैं और स्टार्टअप्स हैं, तो वर्चुअल इंक्यूबेशन में पार्ट लीजिए। और सबसे बड़ी चीज़ जो धन्यवाद के पात्र हैं वो हैं स्टार्टअप्स, जिन्होंने हम लोगों की इतनी ढेर सारी बातें सुनी, वरना इस ज्ञान का क्या फायदा होता है यदि सामने सुनने वाला ना हो। तो 2.5 घंटे तक आप लोगों ने सुना, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। एंड फॉर अवर फॉरेन प्लेयर्स who are right now available in the meeting, so I will especially thank to those also, and I will especially thank to Mr. Dr. KK Goyal, Mr. Dalmia, Mr. Manish Tuli, Jaykant ji, and all our speakers, Mr. Nood, the EBTC director, he has joined today, so thank you very much। और इंटीग्रेटेड वर्चुअल इंक्यूबेशन के साथ जो हम लोग जुड़े हैं, तो मैं चाहूँगा कि जो स्पीकर्स का पैनलिस्ट हमारे साथ जुड़े थे, they will be a part of this virtual incubation which is going with the Ministry of Information Technology। Thank you sir, thank you very much। जितने लोग हमारे participants हैं startups, they will put their comments on chat box, so we can make next webinar available for you, and I think the next webinar will be only half an hour for different your requirements, so we will arrange for that, but this is an introductory webinar, so हमने arrange किया। आप अपने कमेंट्स इसमें डालिएगा, so next time हम और क्या कर सकते हैं आपके लिए, we will try to give you।
गोयल साहब आपका नंबर डाल देंगे, मोबाइल नंबर, ईमेल आईडी चैट बॉक्स में। ईमेल आईडी और सर। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू। अच्छा मनीष जी, ओके, थैंक यू सर।
आप सभी लोग जितने स्टार्टअप्स हैं कमेंट्स डाल के जाइएगा प्लीज, so we can arrange the next webinar according to your comments, and after this webinar you will get a feedback from form from our side, kindly fill that। Thank you very much, thank you for the speakers and all panelists available there, thank you very much, have a nice day।
Thank you everyone।
All the questions we will try to provide
Thank you so much
email
sir।
mail, thank you। लेती रहो।
Thank you.